Remember, I don't have an intro. And we're in.
All right.
Guys, we're a couple of minutes late. And once again, it's because I flapped my gums. Let's just establish that. I'm usually not this late. I apologize. What's everybody up to? There's already a ton of people in here. There's 350 people in here.
Wow.
You guys know Tommy. Tommy, say hello to the crowd, please.
Hello, crowd.
Isn't that nice?
It's so cool to be here.
Isn't it really fun? Guys, he was just on his own live, and I had to get in there and say, all right, cut this short. Let's go. Let's go, Scoville.
She did. I saw that comment right as I was leaving.
I was like, quit flapping your gums and get over on the
I think that's what she said. Stop flapping your gums or something along those lines. Quit farting around or whatever. Yeah, I saw it.
Something like that. Yeah, I think I said quit dicking around. Quit dick swinging.
That's what you said. There you go. Hello, Kenya.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Hello, Kenya.
Look at everybody who's in here. Look who's with
you
us.
Look fabulous, by the way.
Are you talking to me?
Look at the hair. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm digging the hair in the chow hat.
Thank you. I don't know if you know this, but when you see me in a hat, that typically means we're getting close to hair washing day. So I cover it up and I fluff
jive with Friday?
It does. Yep. I'm going to do my lightning shampoo tomorrow, and I have to leave that on a little longer. And while I'm doing that, you get into the hummingbird's nest. Yep. And so it all works out. It's a win-win. And I know we'll be thinking about each other on Friday morning. I know actually a lot of us will. But this is the case. When you see fluffy pigtails and a hat, that means it's time to get it done. Time to get it.
You know what? I think you're missing out. That's a good look. You should rock that.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. I'll do it more. Thanks. Thank you so much. And what else is going on with you? Anything we need to know? Any secrets? Anything fun happen?
Let's see.
Any fun encounters?
You know what? It's been since the last time I was here. Yeah, it's been a pretty fun week. I've done a couple of collabs with some cool people, and I've got a couple of more coming up. This has been the year of the collaboration, So,
do you want to tell us more about it?
Well, one I'm doing it's a woman that has a show in out of Great Britain that does some really cool stuff, and she's got she does some Scientology stuff. I'm not going to tell you her name yet, though, because I haven't inked the deal. We're almost done. I just don't want to tell everybody that, because if we do it, it's going to be very quick. But if it's not, it might be after the new year, and then I'll feel silly. So, but it's a really, really cool show. And I've got a couple of things going with Esoteric Atlanta, stuff I'm going to be doing with Bryce. And I really get along great with Bryce. It seems like that everyone that I'm collaborating with happens to be a woman. Maybe a coincidence, or maybe that I hate men. Could go either way. You know what I mean? Spent way too much time with them, Reese. They're not a lot of fun.
Oh, that's true.
You beg to differ.
Can I ask you about that? Speaking of that, it's so fun to ask you questions about prison. I just don't have many friends that were in prison for 13 years. It was 13 years, right? Or was it 13 felonies?
Altogether. No, it was more than 13 felonies, but altogether it was 13 years.
God, that's kind of neat, you guys. It's edgy. It makes me edgy by association.
No.
Like, makes me feel kind of neat, like I'm friends with Tony Soprano. Hold on. Did you ever see a woman, like, did they have female guards with the men, or is it just male guards?
No. There are female guards.
Oh, yeah, okay. So you actually have to see females.
Yeah. But I mean, they're not trying to, they're trying to do everything they can to look like they're not attractive. I'm just being real. Like, they're told, don't put on any makeup, try to like, they really are trying to look like the guys, because I think the biggest fear, obviously, to anybody that works in that environment is that somebody is going to attack them. And it does happen. There was a case that blew my mind. When I was in the state prison, there was a doctor. There you go, squirrel. There was a doctor, a woman who was attacked by two guys cleaning, and she was assaulted. The kind of assault that, if we talk about this early in a live feed, is going to get us demonetized. And the guards came in and shot both of the guys who were doing it. And she saved one of their lives. Immediately went to work on one of the guys that was in the process of doing that. I don't know how anyone is made of that kind of material. Like, And I met this woman. She actually ran a sobriety course that I took while I was in prison, and she talked about it. She just said, my job, I took a Hippocratic oath, you save lives. And she's like, yeah, I wasn't particularly happy with either of them. One, she could not save. And the other, I said, I would imagine that looking at him would make you sick. And she said, he's the porter in here. Said he's been working here for 11 years. And I just thought, I don't know how anybody is made of that kind of forgiveness or whatever, but I'm not, it was just but that was a state joint thing. No, there are women that work all throughout the system. And the women that work, the people that work in the psychology department are, I won't say exclusively women, but I bet it's probably 80% or higher. A lot of women end up working in the psych department of prisons. And I think very often it's because they take the job because they are working toward a PhD, and we end up case studies. You follow? Like this is a great way for them to be exposed to a whole lot of people who are what they call 5150, criminally insane. I was never designated 5150, but a lot of guys in there are. And I think a lot of the people go in there because they have that chance to work with them. But you see a lot of them. You just they smell like every other, they don't wear perfume. They don't wear, lipstick or makeup and they wear very unflattering clothing, with bulletproof vests. And they're called stab-proof vests. They're not bulletproof vests, but they're so that we can't stab them. And if they're unflattering, they take any figure out of a person. So although you do see women, it's not really like seeing women, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The exception to that would be the women that worked with us in the psychology department. There were some really, really lovely women that worked there. And I even bonded with a couple of them.
This is
Brianna
crazy.
Miller. I went to prison for bank robbery. Everything I went to prison for had something to do with stealing. All of my prison sentences were stealing related.
Did you ever have to fight when you were in prison? Like, are there fights like there are on TV?
I don't watch.
I don't watch TV either, but I've seen enough.
You know what? Prison movies disturb the crap out of me. Right? I don't enjoy watching prison movies. They're not particularly realistic. They really are not. And the violence is so over the top. They take the most violent thing that ever happened in prison and they make the people on the street believe that it happens around the clock, and it doesn't at all. Prison is very, very boring until it's not. And then when it's not, it's terrifying. Right? But yes, you have to fight. Like when I got to, because of my custody level, I was at a level 3 and 4 yard. And when I got there, they would say, are you down for the cause? If stuff breaks off, are you willing to fight this and that? And you go, yeah, because the other option is, right, they're going to get rid of you anyway. So you go, yeah, of course. And they say, all right, you're third in line. And that means that the next 3 people that come up that need their butt kicked, you're kicking the third one's ass. Like that's how it works. You're just going to go and take care of the business because there's always business. Every day there's someone that they found out isn't any good, or they found out his paperwork's bad and that he's hiding and he's like a Danny Masterson kind of person, or he ratted on somebody. He ran up a drug debt that he didn't pay, all of these things. And they'll say, you're third in line. And I can't stand waiting for anything. It terrifies me. So I would say, I'll do the next one. How's that? Right? Just give me the next one. So every time you get to a new yard, you kind of have to fight. But realistically, when you're putting work in, the guy you're going to beat up knows that if by some chance he's really good at fighting you and he kicks your butt, there's 3 dudes standing outside the door that are going to come in and tune him up anyway. So very often it's not so much a fight as you going in to beat somebody up, which sucks. And no less than a fight, by the way.
Does it get broken up pretty quickly though?
Nothing gets broken up. You don't fight in public. You fight in the cells. There's no cameras in the cells. So you roll into the guy's cell and 3 guys stand outside and you go in there and say, sorry, you know what you did. You know why I'm here, right? I didn't show up for no reason. They usually know why you're there. And then you just beat on them. You punch him in the head 4 or 5 times. You leave him lumped up. You kick him a few times. Or if he's like a Danny kind of a guy, they call it a hands-off policy, which means you're not hitting them. They're going to send you in with steel and they're going to want you to, stick them.
Wait, though. If something like that, don't you get time added to your sentence?
It depends on the incident. If this person if I'm going in to beat up a guy because he ran up a drug debt or he screwed up at the poker table or whatever, doesn't mean he has to leave. He's getting disciplined. So they send me in and I just beat on the dude. And then when we leave, they'll make sure he never has to leave the cell. They'll bring his food to him. So because if he leaves the cell and he gets spotted with black eyes or whatever, but it's very rare that anybody gets caught for those kind of things. Now the
Did you ever
stabbings,
get
that's
beat
a little
up?
different. Oh yeah. Yep.
Like broken bones?
I don't think I ever had a bone broken. I got cut, and I got stabbed. I got life flighted off of 1 yard after being stabbed in the stomach, and I got the scars, from it. Yep, I got stabbed.
I don't know how to process that. That's a lot. That's intense.
But the worst beating I ever got was at the hands of the cops. The worst beating I ever got was at the hands of the cops. It was way worse than anything I ever took from an inmate. The inmate stuff was because there were two things they had a real problem with me about. One of them was I was buying dope from people that were not in my race. I was buying from Mexicans. I was a heroin addict, and the only people selling heroin were Mexican. So when I got there, I was like, they said, you can't buy from them. And I went, I'm buying from them. You know what I mean? The other option is I'm getting sick. And they're like, well, then, you're going to get beat up. I was like, well, I'm in cell 110, right? And once you kick my ass, you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to buy heroin to deal with the pain. So, I mean, I'd be walking down the hall holding a towel like this to go buy more dope. I mean, I was really thick-headed. And after about 4 or 5 of the times of them sending people in to beat on me, they finally just kind of let it go and let me do my own thing. But the stabbing was really, it was just a really odd case of a mistaken identity. No joke. Best thing that ever happened to me. But I got stabbed in the stomach and got poked twice, once really deep, and had to get life flighted off of the yard. And that was the start of my sobriety.
Brianna wants to know if I already know the answer to this from your friend Q, but did you?
Yeah.
Do you see it?
That was the second thing they didn't like me for, was that, yes, you're supposed to stick to your own race, and you do. The exception to that rule was Q. And we didn't hang out during the day 24/7. You can't do that. But I lived in the Unicor block, which means everybody there was working in a factory. So it was a little less racist in there, because during the day you had to work with people of whatever color to get the project done in the factory, right? You can't have just a white line, manufacturing, or just a black line manufacturing. So that actually caused people to work together and a lot of interaction. And I mean, you still couldn't eat something after a different race or take a sip off their cup. They'd kill you for that. But as stupid as that is, but we could also go to the library. And when you go in the library, the people in the library don't care what you're doing, because they're there to try to make their life better. So I could sit down at a table with Q and the two of us could talk. And we did every single opportunity that we could, for 2.5 years.
That's a good question from Jen Nelson.
What if you are mixed race? You go in there and you tell them, and then you choose. They give you a choice. What car are you going to ride with? And you don't even have to be mixed race. Like, we had a white guy come in, and my job, I was the rep in my unit. So my job was to go up and go, hey, what's going on? And Brock, we got a care package for you. And he went, whoa, I don't ride white. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, I'm tipped up, which is a term that means he's in a gang. He said, I'm tipped up and my gang's a black gang. I said, all right. I said, come on, I'll take you to the black rep. And I walked him up to the black rep and I said, hey man, apparently he's going to be riding with you guys. And he's like, all right, man, what's your deal? We came in, big hugs, because if you're a gangbanger, then all that crap doesn't matter. Your family, right? So black and whites will eat together. They will do whatever together, because the gang supersedes all that, if that makes sense.
And also, this is a good question. I heard you say that you talked to Q. Is Q still in prison?
Q is doing life in prison. And I am doing what I can to try to make that maybe come to an end. That's my goal on this planet.
That's so sad. So he's still there where you were?
Over. Yeah, he is still where I am at. And he was there for 20 some odd years before I got there. And he's younger than I am. But I'm not, his story's not done. Don't shed any tears just yet. And he'll be the first to tell you that he did what he did. He's not innocent. He's not part of an innocence project. He killed people. Didn't want it to happen, but it happened. And he's not asking, but he's changed his life so much that I just think the world would be a better place if he was on the other side of the gate. I think that a time is going to come when I'll be able to convince the world of that. We're not there yet, but I have assembled a team of people that I pay that are, and then other people have helped to pay as well. And Q's been able to help because he's been working in Unicorp for 20 or 30 years. But we got a team of people that are putting together all of the, we just want to modify the sentence. No one's asking him to not do time, right? But after 35 years, if he was in the state and he killed anybody, 35 years would have done it, right? He'd be clean. So Q is the person that I met in prison, Stephen, after spending 30 years of trying to quit heroin every third or fourth day and not being successful, and going through Betty Ford and going through every rehab on the planet, right? Paid for by other people, and going to AA and NA and any AA or any letter of the alphabet you could do, right? I tried aversion. I tried every therapy you could do, including some that are terrifying, right? Methods that they don't use anymore. And then nothing worked for me. I put the implant in that would block it from happening. When it first came out, it was a chunk. You could literally see it under your skin. And I removed it with a X-Acto knife because that's the kind of addiction that I had. And then I met a black guy that just plain fixed me. I think Reese would be very popular with pigtails in prison. I want to tell you something. Reese would stop traffic in prison. There would be
not because of my looks, just because I'm so weird. People would be like, get her out of here.
No, that's not it. I'm telling you.
That's it.
You'd be real popular. I'm telling you.
Really?
You'd be a pinup. I'm telling you, you'd be a pinup. And I love the glasses. Did I not say that before I went live? That is a good look for you. The cat eye glasses are awesome.
That's crazy. Thank you, but
you don't like them?
No, I'm just thinking about all the friends I could make. Can I go like walk up and down and say hi to everybody?
Do you know what people do, honestly? So here's what you want to do. You want friends? Take about 75 pictures, 80 pictures of yourself, right? Put them all on one sheet of paper, and then you do a bulk mailer to everybody in the prison system and say, these are just a sample of some of the pictures that you can buy. And then the guys buy them on snapshots, like a regular picture you used to get back when we had cameras. And they trade them like trading cards, pictures of girls. And some of these girls get super famous, right? I could spit out the names now, but I don't necessarily want anyone looking these girls up. But these girls were famous. Like, there's nobody in prison who doesn't know at least 5 of, they call them yard girls because they're called yard shots or yard pictures. The most famous girl's name is Nikki, and it's more than that, but I won't, because I don't want everybody looking her up, because the stuff that you see on the street's different. It's pretty much porn, but what they send in can't show any nudity, right? So it's bikinis and shorts and.
Oh yeah, no, I would never do that. Also, I'm kind of grossed out by that. I don't want to make money off these guys. I just wanted to go in like on my lunch hour.
Then what you do is
eat a sandwich with them.
Pen pals behind bars. Right?
Could I bring in like a couple of sandwiches and sit there with them in the yard?
They're not fond of you bringing anything into visiting.
Like maybe a bag of Lay's and a little sub sandwich, like I would visit Huxley.
They're going to assume that your bag of Lay's also has bags of contraband inside. That's why you can't bring anything to visiting. You have to buy the food there, but you could come in and buy your Lay's potato chips and then sit with your convict friend. You can also buy microwavable stuff like hamburgers and hot dogs, and because you're going to be in visiting for about 6 or 7 hours.
Right? I would like to bring in some BLTs and turkey sandwiches and sit with them in the yard and talk about things.
I think you'd like to remain on maybe the other side of the fence. You wouldn't want to be on the yard. Although, you know what? I think people probably assume that you would be attacked, and you wouldn't. Guys are super respectful of women. You would not be attacked. Nevertheless, it would probably still be frightening because they would be looking at you like you were a, T-bone steak.
I'd like to bring in a little picnic basket of sandwiches and some flaming hot Cheetos in little Ziploc bags and some cookies.
I don't think you're understanding the prison thing right now. I don't think you understand the yard in the same way that I'm talking about.
That my milkshake would bring all the boys to the yard.
Your milkshake would bring all of the boys to the yard.
I think my BLT would bring the boys to the yard. I think that sounds
licorice and Turkish taffy.
I don't know what that is, but I mean, if that's something on the BLT? Request list, bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich.
Oh no, that doesn't sound good. I prefer Bosco, licorice, and Turkish taffy. That's a BLT. I don't know.
Okay, well, I was just trying to think of something that a man would like maybe a club sandwich, or I like a peanut butter and jelly personally, but I could make sandwiches and put them in a basket and bring them in.
Believe it or not, peanut butter and jelly would go over really, really big with the fellas. That's a very popular thing behind the wall. It's one of the few things that you can make in your cell because you can buy jelly, you can buy peanut butter. You don't need to refrigerate either. They come in squeezers, and you can buy a loaf of bread. So inmates have the opportunity to actually eat that while they're in their cell, and that's rare, right? Usually you have to cook things. So there's a lot of PB&J that's popular with the fellas. Yeah, the hair would go over.
Oh, you think it would?
I'm telling
That
you.
is so nice. I would like to go in and just make some friends. You know, I've always wanted to be Clarice Starling from Silence of
Really?
the Lambs. Yeah, it's like my favorite movie. And I always thought, wouldn't that be fun to make friends with some of those guys? Like, I love that scene when she goes and chats it up with Mr. Dr. Lecter.
That's the
Be-
most disturbing scene in any movie in history. I'm not trying to get graphic, but isn't that the scene where she like kind of takes one from multiple MIGs?
From multiple MIGs in the next cell, but he's a
Yeah.
gentleman. He's a gent and a scholar. I would give anything to be her in that movie.
We need to spend more time together.
He's
You're
the
not right.
first man I fell in love with. I watched that movie when I was 9 years
Hannibal
old, and I
Lecter?
was yes, and I wanted Anthony Hopkins ever since, and I still do. I would climb all over him. I was
Wow.
so attracted to him.
Wow.
Yeah, he does it for me, up and down. I would get all kinds of naked. I'm not really comfortable getting fully naked, but I would do it. And yeah,
We
I
should
would
work
I
on
would
that. That's not
climb
good.
him like a tree. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't mind being naked at home. As a matter of fact, this morning, I didn't know this, and I went into Jeff's office and I was totally naked. I had nothing on. I was getting ready to get in the shower. And I went, "Hey," and I started to walk around, and he was on a Zoom call with all of his staff. And I started to walk around his computer, and I thought his coffee was going to fly. He almost had a heart attack. Jeff was like, "I'm on a Zoom call." And I was like, "So what? Merry Christmas, everybody."
See, this
So
thing
I
doesn't happen
also,
to me. That doesn't happen to me. When I get a Zoom call, it's a guy breaking wind. You know what I mean? Like there's never a girl running naked in the background. That's not happening. I
I
don't
don't
even get a
mind being
cool
naked
cat
at
running through the
home.
background.
I just don't have that
No.
kind of confidence. Like I don't it takes me a while. I remember when I first got naked with Jeff, I would cover myself with pillows and he was like, "Lose the pillows." And I was like,
Oh
"Nuh-uh,
yeah.
no, I can't." And he was
Right?
like, "You can do this. Like lose the pillows. There's a lot of good things there under the pillows." I was like,
Yes.
nope,
Doing the
nope."
Forrest Gump thing with the light switch back on. Right? What are you doing? Don't turn that off. Don't turn that off.
Not only the lights off, but unplug any alarm clock or anything that gives any kind of glare at all that's going to
Oh,
show a
would you
little
stop
bit of
that?
light.
Would you stop that?
It's
First of all,
no
you know what?
joke.
We're 22 minutes into the show. Are we really jumping the rails this early? Okay, we're cool. I need a tripod. I need 3 or 4 different points of lighting, a small crew to film, maybe a boom mic, no more than
For
2
what?
camera angles. I don't want to make it weird. You know what I mean?
Um, for when you shoot your naked time? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Yes, for when I get naked with a friend. Yeah, I just don't care. I
Um,
really don't. I don't care. You know what else? No, yeah. I just don't care. Prison probably has a lot to do with that. You know what I mean? Like if you're modest, you're dead. You're dead. Because you get in, it's like every 25 minutes, someone's going, "All right, man, take off all your clothes, lift up your junk for real, turn around, squat, cough, spread them, the whole shooting match." And this is just a daily occurrence. So you get to a point where you're like, no, who
I
cares?
mean, I'm it's weird. I'm weird about it when I'm about to bone down, but like I'll rip all my clothes off and walk around the house and we've got giant picture windows like and they're open all the time. I don't care. And also like at the doctor's office, I'll take all my clothes off. I'm not shy, but I'm shy if I'm going to get naked with someone and they're going to judge me because I'm about to go to Pound Town. That's the only time I get shy. I get nervous because I'm like, "Oh, I'm fat."
So what you're
Otherwise, I don't
saying is
care.
what you're saying is you could fling your clothing off now, since no one here is planning to take you to Pound Town. This would not be a problem.
I mean, I wouldn't yeah, I'm not really shy about it, not really,
I'll
but
match you. I'll match you. I'm not tripping. Let's do this.
let me ask you something, speaking of getting naked. When you or can you take a shower every day when you're in prison? Like, are you allowed to do
It
that?
depends. It depends on where you are in prison. I am on a live feed, Kahuni. All right, I'm on with Relatable Reese. Love you too. You can shower every day if you happen to have like the modern prisons now put a shower in every cell, right? So you can shower in your own cell. They have a little built-in shower, a very, very small one. When I was in the special management unit, I could shower Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
They don't ever know where it's going to go on my channel. That's why Tommy doesn't simul-stream. He's like, I don't want this on my channel.
It's the truth comes out, right? I invite my whole audience over here. What the hell are you talking about? Look down. We share a lot of audience. There are places where you can shower whenever you want, right? You just have to sort of get in line. But this is a thing that at the higher custody levels, when you shower, you need a friend to go with you because you don't want to get attacked while you're in the shower. And there's a rule.
Does that actually happen?
Absolutely. Oh, you mean, do people get attacked? Yeah. Yeah. If you got a beef, like if two different races or two different gangs are beefing, it's called catching someone slipping. If they see somebody get into the shower and there's not anybody there watching, even if they don't have beef with that person in particular, because they caught somebody from that car slipping, they're going to go in there and stab them because you're standing there naked. Right? You're slipping. You got no way to defend yourself. You don't have shoes on. So a guy comes with you and sits out in front.
That's not what I meant.
What are you asking? Oh,
did you
talking about the repay?
Yeah.
No, not much. Not much.
Because they make it seem that way on TV.
On movies, yeah. I think it just sells. I mean, in 13 years, I knew of 2 incidents of it. I only saw it twice in 13 years, and once it was just a cellmate that had if you're locked in the special management unit and your cellmate's twice as big as you and he's a sicko, then you're in trouble, right? I mean, then that was one of the incidents, but the guys won't put up with that. Like the only person that would be fair game for that would be Danny Masterson.
I just wonder because guys don't get anything when they're in prison. Like I could see that.
Oh no! Oh, you mean does it consensually happen? Yeah.
I'm sure it does that way too.
There are people that are doing that, but if they get caught, they're in deep trouble. Deep trouble.
Okay.
If the fellas catch them, they're in trouble. Now at the lower custody levels, I was blown away. At the end, when it came time to almost be home, I went to a level 3 or 4 yard or whatever at FCI, an FCI low custody level. And when I got there were people in relationships that for all intents and purposes were out in the open, where any place else, these people would be in trouble and guys were joking and clowning about it. But yeah, at the 3 and 4 level yards, they don't allow any of that. No, the term is no sex play.
What do you do then for 13 years?
You trade yard photos of girls who are dressed scantily, and then you take care of yourself, right? You talk dirty to your girlfriend and you write beautiful letters home that are filthy. I mean, what do? You do everything you can do to satisfy yourself without the use of another dude, right? I mean, I'm not built that way. And I'm not giving anybody crap that's built that way. You do with your time the way you do your time. I was waiting to get out because I'm pretty fond of women. That was so you wait, you wait. And the first sentence I did with a wife on the street, waiting for me to come home. And the second sentence that I did not do that way. Right. The second sentence I did with, having to do it on my own, nobody, no help on the street.
I don't feel sorry for you. I was married for 10 years and I only had sex probably 5 times in that 10 years. And that was all in the first 6 months. So I went almost 10 years without having sex. And that was just.
Me too.
Okay. Speaking of.
Sorry, go ahead.
Can we see your paddles? You mind showing your Oh my God, you guys, that thing is terrifying. I wanted to address this as well. Being a stripper, do you think there are places where you can go be a stripper and be chubby like myself?
This is actually a beer bottle. No, I'm kidding. It was a pepper bottle. Oh, so there are places what?
Guys, is there a place where I could go be a stripper and be overweight? Are there places that hire roundy, chubby girls?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, because I do enjoy dancing around in the kitchen, and I wondered if it would be similar to just kind of, You know, because I mean, when you're overweight like myself, it's not like I'm going to be able to climb on a pole and hold my own self up. So I just wondered
So
if there
what
could be
was
no
so
poles
what
and you just
was so
dance
what was
around.
not what's not overweight then? Well, because you're overweight, you got it. You have a number. What's the not overweight number?
I only judge
If
myself, honestly.
Well, then you're not
I
allowed. Then you're not allowed to do that. No more of that for the rest of the show. I'm sorry. I tried. I gave you a chance. You can't articulate the point. Then you're not overweight, right? Because if without a target number, you don't know that you're over. And look, they're smoking. They don't even smoke. So knock that crap off.
yeah, but I'm being
And I can't
serious.
even. I want to highlight comments. Look, you see my touch screen stuff. Like I'm trying to highlight comments.
You
When I'm on your
can.
show.
You
No, I
can.
can't. No, I can't. I'd
Really?
like to. Yeah.
Well,
I'd
just
like to,
read them
but I
out
can't.
loud then. Just say what you feel.
There we go. Britt P says, "Oh my gosh, stop, Reese. You are beautiful." There you go. There you go.
Yeah, guys, I'm not saying these things so you can get mad
Tampa
at
B
me.
man says, "Not every place has a stripper pole." True, not every place does, and even the ones that do, there people. They need to appeal to every single person and every single individual and their tastes. And I assure you, there are a large number of people who you fit the bill perfectly for their tastes. I assure you. Yeah, curvy
Well,
women
I
rock.
feel like
Skinny women rock. All women rock.
I don't disagree, guys. I'm not saying that anybody else is unattractive except myself. I just wonder if there's a
But you're
place for
not.
me in this world where I could be like, besides having to go to prison and bring sandwiches, I'm wondering if there's a place. Yeah, yeah. Is there a place for that where I can be admired other than prison?
I do.
I mean,
There is. There is. If I put the address out there, I'm doxing myself. People will show up. I've already had that happen. It's a downer. But you can come here, Reese. I'll make that crap. I will make that crap rain. And I do not have a stripper pole yet, but I just moved in. So I haven't really had a chance to completely redecorate yet. Thinking of maybe.
And I like this. Nico's right. Chubby does not equal not beautiful. I agree. For some reason, I only see that about myself. Like I see larger, chubbier women than me, and I consider myself chubby, but there's all different sizes, and I think they're gorgeous. But for
you
whatever
just can't look at
reason,
yourself that way.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can't look at myself that way.
Okay. All right. Pay attention real quick. All right. I'll knock this one out in about 45 seconds. There is
we have more time than that, so
right?
please
Beautiful.
articulate.
Beautiful is a choice that is made every single day. It really is. If you look at what is considered beauty or attractive or whatever, it comes down to symmetrics, right? Literally, like they've studied this. It comes down to how symmetrical the left side of your face is compared to the right side of your face. This is literally, and then they go from there, and it's width of eye, height of eye, like all of this can be determined, right? What they determine to be attractive. I dated the ugliest attractive woman you have ever seen in your life, right? This girl was a California dime, but she was the ugliest human being I have ever met, male or female. I didn't know that going into it, but beautiful is a choice. And it's amazing when somebody chooses to be beautiful, how somebody that society might call, an 8 starts looking like a 10 or an 11. And somebody that society starts calling a 10 starts really looking like a 7 when you just realize that they're not a very nice human being. They're kind of reprehensible. Or they think that because nature gave them symmetrics, right? Some kind of symmetrical face, that somehow that gives them entitlement to maybe be treated special or better. And that's not attractive. No one finds that attractive, right? So people who are kind of humble and who choose to be beautiful, who choose to treat everybody the same, whether they're attractive or they're thin or they're not thin or they're what you don't think is attractive. If you just treat everybody the same and everybody you treat with kindness, then I think that that's choosing to be beautiful, right? And I think that it really does affect how people view you. You're a pretty beautiful person, and the whole relatable thing, I think that there's a lot to that. You remember me saying, did you come up with that, or did Aaron?
No,
Because
I
I
did.
really think that, yeah, and I think that there's really something to that, but that's all part of choosing to be a beautiful human being, and very, very often. Yeah, there you go. Rubenesque, right? The beautiful paintings of Reuben and the Rubenesque women, they were larger. And it changes from time to time, right? What is considered beautiful now, like what dudes in prison collect in yard shots are women that in many cases, I think are unhealthy overweight, like morbidly obese. But there is a genre and guys are really into it. My thing is, I hope everybody's healthy. I hope you're happy with the body you got, as long as it's not, I don't want to see anybody's weight, take away from how much time they spend on the planet. But other than that, you know what? You can be beautiful at any weight. And I believe that. I swear to God, I believe that. But that's me.
Okay.
I got hit in the head a lot. What do I know? But that's my humble opinion.
That's actually an interesting conversation to have. It really pisses people off, like when I say what I just said, which is I don't find myself attractive. I'm not here to talk about how I look tonight, but what I'm saying is, where does that come from?
I can tell you where it comes from. Barbie has a 72-inch inseam, right? And we give Barbie to a little girl when she's 4 years old. And she looks at Barbie and she's got a 58-inch chest. So when a girl hits 12 years old and looks in the mirror, she thinks that there's something ghastly wrong with her and that she's not built right. And you go outside your house and every single billboard has a picture of a woman that's been airbrushed and been cleaned up and painted and dyed. And, they're not even real. And by the time you're, 12 or 13 years old, you've seen 500 million of those images. So very few women have positive body images, and it's really kind of friggin' pathetic. And I didn't give a crap until I had a daughter. You know what I mean? I didn't know enough to give a crap until I had a daughter. And,
I don't know that that's it for me though, Tommy, because I wasn't playing with Barbies. I was on staff full time, working 16 hours a day at the Church of Scientology.
It's still in every television show. It's in every commercial. It's in every magazine. It's in every billboard. It's everywhere, right? It's in every movie. Nobody's real, right? They bring in an ass double for girls that you look at and go, this girl needed someone else's butt. Like, look at this person. How the hell did we need to just shoot, right? Because everything needs to be a little more than real, right? It needs to be a little bit more perfect than what you could be in the real world. And sadly, those are the ideals. You say, no, I didn't play with Barbies, right? How many little girls are going to watch the Barbie movie, right? The one that just came out. Right. And it's fun and it's inclusive and it's all that. And it's got a woman who is a unbelievable kind of supermodel, right, of perfection. And I realize that the movie's kind of bagging on it. But if you let a 6-year-old see it, I don't know how much they're going to get that. They're just going to see somebody that isn't really all that real, and sadly, my 12-year-old was the most communicative kid that ever lived. And I really got a dose of it. She said, I just don't look like, any other woman. I'm like, you look like every other woman. They don't look like any other women. Those are the circus freaks, right? I'm sorry. They're lovely. They're not circus freaks, but they're 6'2". A lot of these women are taller than I am. And then they put them in 4-inch heels and they shoot them in camera angles that make it look like they're really 5'6", that they just happen to be that thin and that lanky and beautiful and perfect. And you know what? No one looks like that. They don't. And then they build clothing for them that no one can buy. It's a bizarre thing, isn't it? And a handful of people.
But that's not what I look to as beauty. What I'm saying is, I don't think I'm so ugly and fat. I wish I was 6'2" and 2 pounds. That's not beauty to me either. I see women all day long that are all shapes and sizes. As a matter of fact, I've said this before. I'm not attracted to women. Like in a sexual way, but I'm attracted to women in a non-sexual way. Like, I think women are so beautiful. Their features, their hair. There's always things I'm kind of studying. I look at women all the time and I'm like, wow.
You do realize though, that we don't do any of this stuff consciously. Like, you're never sitting there and going, I wonder if I compare myself. It's just that anything you see repetitively over the course of your entire lifetime is going to shape how we view beauty, whether you realize it or not. It's just like, there's a fantastic study that you can do, right? The guy that saves my life is black. Coolest dude I ever met in my life, right? The guy that I care most about on earth happens to not be a white dude. So I don't consider myself racist in any way, shape, or form. And I took this thing where they show you all these images and they do them at speeds about this big. And at the end of it, they ask you a series of questions and you watch things that take place. And they said, who was holding the gun? Who was doing this? And I missaw black guys doing things that they weren't. And I'm not prejudiced. But what happens is we get programmed through our entire life at everything we look at. And you find yourself going, holy crap. because I'm not that guy. I'm really not, right? Everything I do in life is to try to get a black guy out of prison. That's literally the only everything I do. The videos I make, everything I'm doing is just trying to get a black dude out of prison. But I'm susceptible to programming that you don't even realize you have. These are subconscious biases. And sadly, the self-esteem for women is like the self-esteem industry is about a 70 to 30% female to male issue, right? The people who are buying books on self-esteem are not men, right? Men's self-esteem is never an issue the way it is with women, because we didn't see all of those billboards. I mean, yeah, you still see guys with six-pack abs and whatever, but it's not ubiquitous. It's not on every damn corner. It's not in every movie, right? James Bond is going to take, his shirt off, but he's going to bang 4 chicks and they're all going to be half his age, if not a little less, right? And it's just, I think it's a subconscious thing that gets drilled into you. I really do. And I think that, there was a great question. Very often if dad was absent, that really hurts. The first person that should tell you you're beautiful is your dad, right? I mean, that really is, especially for a little girl. That's kind of how it's supposed to go down.
Not mine.
Well, and that's where self-confidence comes, I mean, dad should really tell you that you're an angel and that you're beautiful, because dad believes that, right? I mean, there's no dad that doesn't believe that, unless he's a degenerate, he's on drugs, or he's spun out in a cult, right? I mean, that's really once the damage is done, that's really hard to undo, but you need to. It's something you absolutely need to work on. And we talked about this off the air one day, right? You don't have to be madly in love with yourself, but self-aware goes a long way, right? You're not an ugly person. You don't have to fancy yourself Christy Brinkley and become an egomaniac, but you're not an ugly person, because I'm super shallow and I wouldn't even talk to you.
That's so
I'm
true.
kidding.
Deep as a puddle. I was going to say Scientology. So a lot of people were asking. Scientology does, in my opinion, I can't speak for everyone's upbringing in it, but Scientology definitely puts attention on being overweight. If you are overweight, being gay, anything like that, anything that's different, they do point that out. When you do bull baiting in your training, oh my God, I mean, they will attack the heck out of your body, especially if there's anything that's different, or you're a little bit overweight or a lot overweight. Also, I was going to answer Cassie's question. It's funny she asks me that. I remember I was about 10 years old and my dad was dating a lot of different women. He was gone a lot. He was a pool hustler. And he was dating a lady in Kansas City. I don't know why. We were in Omaha. And her name was Melinda. And he showed me a picture of her. And I will never forget how big I felt. I was so embarrassed when he did this. I'll just never forget it. He showed me a picture of her and I said, she looks older. I didn't say old. I just said, she looks older. And he looked at me and he goes, well, at least she's never been as fat as you are. And I was like, ugh. I was so, I don't know why. My dad treated me that way all the time. I think it was just the directness of that particular insult. And I felt so horrible after that. And I think that's kind of when it started. Like I started paying attention to my body and I was like, I'm so fat.
Exactly when it started. I mean, very often if somebody's in recovery from anything, it takes a very long time to peel the onion to get to that moment, because it's not that overt and it's not so in your face, but it happened that day. And let me tell you something.
I remember crying about that for days.
He's a piece of shit. I'm sorry. There's no other way for me to say that. I mean, that's just, first of all, oh my God, how old were you?
I think I was 10 or 11.
Oh, and I like to hit him.
I mean, he's a piece of shit. Yeah, we've all established that. There's nothing new there. It's just, I don't know if that's where it started, but I have...
Michelle, I'm sorry.
Michelle? Who's Michelle?
Michelle, who said her father called her thunder thighs. You know what? They're a dad. They're still decent dads. I promise you. I really do. They're out there. I'm sorry but let me tell you something else. They say you can't choose your family. You can. I swear to God, you can. Go put one together. I did. And I got a great family, but it's a lot bigger now than it used to be. I got sisters all over the planet. I got brothers all over the planet, right? People that will come to my rescue if I need them. People that are always there for me. Build yourself a family. If you got a bad one, rebuild one, because there's no reason for that shit. And sorry, but now the older guy thing makes a hell of a lot more sense too, right? I mean, honestly.
Yeah, I'd like to know more, delve into that more too. I really don't. I'm sure there's
Same
plenty of
day.
things like
Same
what?
day. All that every single bit of being shaped probably started that day. I mean, that's devastating stuff. There's no way to do credit to just how much damage a jackass father who doesn't know what he's doing can do to a girl. It's staggering the amount of damage. You know something? I'm a loser. Thank God I never did that. You know what I mean? Like I robbed banks and I went to prison and I did all of this stupid crap, but I've never said anything biting like that to my daughter or to my son. And thank God, that it's probably the reason I'm still on this planet, right? Because I don't think I could come back from that kind of guilt. I can come back from being a bank robber. I was a drug addict that did a lot of stupid crap, but I couldn't come back from hurting a kid like that. This is the reason I wear this. You understand? Swear to God. I don't care what you want to do with your life. You want to do dope and party? I don't care. I really don't. But when the things that you do start affecting kids, like when a new generation takes on an occult and all of a sudden kids are being born into it, I get a little salty. Right?
Yeah.
I got to think for kids. I got to think
Do
for
you
kids.
think
I got to think
do
for
you
kids and I got to think for animals.
well, me too, for sure. Do you think that is, I mean, it is a little weird. People have asked me that, and I really don't have a full answer. I mean, I can guess certain things, of course, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and go, I don't know. But I mean, it is unusual. I haven't talked about this, and my therapist hasn't addressed it much, but I think it is unusual that I am interested in men that are my dad's age. I mean, that could be older than my dad, you know,
No,
like
there's not
much
this
older.
is
Somebody
this
asked
isn't
me the other
something that
day,
has
would you
been
be interested in
thoroughly
someone
studied.
your really? I
Oh
have
yeah.
no attraction to anybody near my age group. Like I'm talking about like 10, 20 years older than me. No way. Not even
Yeah.
attracted a little bit. There is something to be said for that. It is weird that like the older, like the more I'm like, oh yeah, that is kind of weird. Do you think that has to do with it?
Well, I mean, there's a term, and it's a term that has been unfortunately hijacked into pop culture, right? But daddy issues is a real thing, right? Like
Yes.
women who suffer from father issues very often needed that rock, that support in their life. That dad really should be an anchor, right? And it should be, in theory, the first
Safety.
guy that you look to who loves you, right? And shows
Yes.
you
And
how a guy should treat you. Because my daughter can't screw up. Like my daughter does anything. Like my ex can call to tell me all the things that my daughter has done, and I can go, yeah. And I mean, she's my
yeah,
daughter. Like, my daughter can't screw up. Right? She can do no wrong.
it's
That's sad, but it's
it's
the
a
truth. It's my daughter.
it's a safety thing. You just said something really important. You said the dad is supposed to be like the rock. To me, the rock is safety. It's a place of safety.
Right.
Someone just said, Brianna Miller, is it because older men make you feel safe? 100%. Yes.
Because you have, that kind of that damage causes that. And my ex-wife, I was considerably older then.
Oh,
And she
really?
had, yeah, 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 considerably older then.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
not
not
as
my
much
first
as the
one. My
guy I
first
was
one, I was
married
about
to.
three. My first wife, I was 3 years older then, but my second wife, I was considerably older
As much as
than
Jeff and
13.
I, Jeff and I have a
No,
27-year age gap.
no, this was 14 years. But if we had a 27-year age gap at that point, she would have been 6. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
that wasn't really a
The
possibility.
man
I
I
said
was
to her,
married to before Jeff was 60 years older than me.
yes, that one I was aware of. Yeah.
He was
Seemed like
60
a
when
real
I was
sweetheart.
born.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's odd.
But that's
I remember
yeah,
saying to
that's
my
a huge gap.
I said to my ex-wife one day, we were in the middle of a legal haranguing or something, and it had something to do with the case. But we were deep into our relationship, and we were sitting at a legal table. And there's a big window here; they can see what you're doing. We never touched each other or broke those rules. She was like a legit lawyer, but we were sitting across from each other, and I said, "Oh man, it was a great idea, and it looked like it might save time." And I said, "I love you." I said, "Man, where were you 15 years ago?" And she said, "If you were with me 15 years ago, you'd be looking at a lot more than 12 years in prison." And it occurred to me that, if I had gone back 15 years, I think at that point she would have been like 12 or something, So, but Yeah, I was considerably older than she was, but I'm also heinously immature, right? So I tend to gravitate toward people that are a little younger than me because I haven't really grown into the whole age thing yet. But I also
I get
don't date.
that.
I mean, I don't. I've been single now for so long. I just kind of gave up on it. I'm not very good at it. I tried the whole hanging out with other people thing, and not only do I screw it up, but I tend to hurt the people in the long run. So I'm just gonna stick with the single thing. And I got squirrel.
Well, I was going to ask you that too. I was actually thinking about that. Do you go out on like Sterling goes out on dates? Do you go on dates? Do you ask people on dates?
No,
Why?
I don't. Uh, well, I'm pretty busy with this mission. I mean, that's kind of legit. I'm pretty busy with this mission, and I'm pretty busy with this mission. I'm you know what? If I could meet the right person and fall in love and do that kind of thing, I don't know when I'd fit that in. And
So you don't
you
necessarily
know,
want to then. Like Sterling is kind of similar. Like it has to be just right for him. Like, do you not necessarily want to?
you know, yeah, I don't know that I want. I'm again, I'm not really good at it. For a guy that communicates really well, um, something gets screwed up. I don't feel like hurting anybody else. I really don't.
Can I ask you,
And
you've been married more than once, right?
I have, yes. Yeah. I
Is
marry
that
really,
part of the
really
reason?
intelligent people for whatever reason. I'm sorry.
Is that part of the reason? Like some people, they've
Um,
been through a couple marriages and they're like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not good at it.
yeah,
Like you
you
said.
know, I liked being married. I really dug being married. I like that life. But it always ends with me screwing something up and the person ends up injured. Like I've injured, I don't mean physically, but I've not left the last two women that I divorced better off, right? In life because they knew
Well,
me. And well, I mean, it's a pretty real thing. And I have been wildly successful for really brief periods of time. And I was doing drugs my entire life. Usually the catalyst for the explosion was a relationship with somebody that I really loved. Trying to put that together with everything else usually got me to where I really went off the rails, and then the crime and the other stuff would start up again. And I'm on 8 years sober, and I'd be honest with you, I could probably live with not having a relationship for the rest of my life if it got Q out
okay.
of prison. Yeah, like that's kind of a big deal in my life. But um, I love women, so it's I mean it's a really tough situation, and I've had a couple of relationships since getting out. They were not very long lived, sadly. You know, and how do you why this is a tough guy. You know, how would you date somebody that does this? You know what I mean? Like this is a really odd way to make a living. You know, I'm not just a YouTuber. I'm a YouTuber that deals with people that are having really bad times, and I really do kind of like I'm not just here saying that I do this. I do reach out to people and I do answer emails and I do work with people one on one. And um, it's like working with a doctor that doesn't make any cash. You know?
That's true. Lorne
Yeah.
Lurks, no, they did not, nor did his friends. It was very weird to have that much of an age gap. Tommy, I have a question though. Like,
Okay.
for instance, so when I met Jeff and we were dating, he was married for 36 years. He's been married twice. And
Uh-huh.
he was like, I'm never doing this again. I'm not getting married again. And I was like, oh, well, I'm in my 30s. It's kind of off the table for me. Like, I know I'm good at being married. I like being married. Um, and we dated a little bit and then I dumped him a couple of times and I was like, this just isn't for me. And he was like, well, I'm not getting married. And then he ended up obviously getting married. Like, is that off the table for you or would you get married again if it were right?
Um, I
Or is this
also
too
have
uncomfortable? Am I crossing
no,
a
no,
line?
not no, no. I don't have any lines.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I really don't. I don't have any lines. I was just thinking before I answered it because I guess I haven't really run that through my head to its final conclusion. Uh, when I
You're
fall, I
young.
fall.
Aren't you young? You're a
Yeah,
young guy.
yeah. By way of full disclosure, I've got health trouble that creates some issues as well. I've got some pretty real health issues that. So while I'm not 70, my odds of hitting 80 period are not great. Like I've got some fairly serious health concerns, and If I met the perfect person and it was lightning in a bottle, like, because when I fall in love, I'm a fool. Like, I fall in love, and if that happened to me again, I wouldn't be able to get out of the way of it. I don't think, because I've never been able to get out of the way of it before. So what I do is I don't put myself in the same situations where I tend to run into the people that I could fall for. Right? Like, I am more careful, I think, than I used to be. You know, I think
Okay.
I don't want to make the same mistakes. I'm very afraid of making the same mistakes. And the other thing is that. Yeah, as a friend, I'm great with women. Like, as having women friends, my women friends love me. They all say great things about me. Once I
I
start
believe that.
getting intimately involved, I tend to blow that, you know?
So but you didn't answer my question. Are you against ever getting married again? Like, would you do
No,
it? Because
no,
that's
no.
what I'm saying. You're not
I think
old, you're
marriage is a
young.
beautiful institution. I think marriage is a beautiful institution. I really do.
Okay. So you're
And
not against
but it,
it. Like you
I'm not
wouldn't.
against it at all. I'm not against it at all. But it would just have to kind of follow. You know, it would have to come about, and it would be, need to be. If lightning strikes, yeah, I would. I'm not against marriage at all. I think it's a very cool concept, and I really
Yeah, I do
loved
too.
being married. I just wasn't very good at it. You know what I mean? I
Sure.
really fell for the last girl. I really, really cared about her. You know, it was just it was a shit show. And the sad thing is that I think it was one of those situations that's really odd, that if we had met at a different time, right, when both of us were not really performing poorly in life, because that's what was happening. If we had both met while we were peaking, I think we'd still be together. We really had a good thing, kind of. I don't know, but it is what it is.
That's too bad. And sometimes it is a matter of timing when you meet somebody and circumstances.
Yeah,
Um,
I did
I think.
not cheat on my last girl.
Okay, I was going to
So I
ask you
think
what do you think
that
about that question? That's a good question.
guys who cheat, it has nothing to do with the woman. It's a problem with guys. I was a chronic philandering cheater for the vast majority of my life, until I got treatment for why I was a drug addict and found out that the reason that I slept with people was the same reason that I got high. And
So is it like
you
an
get a handle on
addiction?
that, you feel so bad about who you are that you come to the decision that if this girl would go to bed with me, and if this girl would go to bed with me fast, right? Like, if it happened in a night or in a day and a half or whatever, and you're already intimate with somebody, you think to yourself, if I were a loser, this person wouldn't do this. And when you're young, you do that every 2 or 3 weeks, and you kind of ride an endorphin buzz for 3 weeks, and then that kind of wears off, and then you got to find a different person to get the same kind of an effect. But the longer you do it, the shorter the relief, so to speak, the shorter the period of time that you feel like you're not a loser. So you end up doing it more and more and more. And you hurt people along the way, and you just sort of become an epic man whore. And that didn't work either,
Cheating never has seemed like it's worth it to me. Like, it's just never. What is the purpose of cheating? To climax with another human being? Like, if
No,
that's
no, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. It's insecurity. You're so insecure and you're so uncomfortable in your own skin that if there's somebody there that is willing to accept you in the most intimate of ways, then you can't be the loser you feel like, right? And of course, sex doesn't suck either, right? And sex with somebody that you've never done it with, for in terms of endorphins being dumped into your body, it's one of the 3 or 4 highest endorphin dumps you're ever going to get. So you do get addicted to all of that. And then you sober up and you realize the things that you've done, and you go, oh my God, right? And there's no way to make amends. You can't. How do you fix that, right?
you
You
can't.
try to make a list. No, there's nothing you can do. You're going to call those people. You would do more damage trying to say sorry to all the people you treated like crap, so you try to live your life differently. So I guess that's one of the reasons I'm not out like dating everything, or, I get a lot of really nice offers.
I was going to
I
say,
get,
if a woman asked you on a date, would you do it?
I've gone on dates. But how do you relate to a YouTuber period anyway? You know what I mean? Like, people have real problems in life. And then, like when we talk, can you imagine if people listened in on us? So-and-so made a video about me, and, they said this, or this. Like, it doesn't even sound like a real world problem, does it? But if you get trolled, as a part of your life every single day, it's the kind of thing you complain about to another YouTuber. It doesn't seem like a real world problem, but these people mail nasty stuff to your family, and You know, we have problems that other people just look at like, that's not a problem. Shut up. I have a real job.
See, I don't know. If I wasn't married right now, I would date all the time, even doing what I do on YouTube. Like I would love to. What?
We could do that. Come hang out with me for a little while, right, Reese?
I would. I love going on dates, but Jeff
Right,
knows that about me now. Like I get very weird and
I forget
needy
you're
and
married on a regular basis. You know that? I really do. I forget you're married on a regular basis.
it's easy to forget. I'm pretty
Yeah.
flirty. But
No.
I need. Can I finish? By the way, guys, I just wanted to make a quick announcement off topic. Shark Week did start today, and I want you all to be feeling sorry for me. I'm on my 7th Advil. Not a lot's happening, but I knew I shouldn't cancel this with Tommy because he can weather the storm. I knew he could too, and I knew he could handle it. And not all guys can. Most of them avoid me the first 48 hours of Shark Week. We all know this. Back to our regular scheduled programming.
Brothers? Get that thing out. What is that you're playing with? It looks like an adult toy. Don't put it up in. Okay, sorry. I just saw the back end of it. I'm just saying it looks okay. It's just I saw part of it.
Okay.
You had it in the corner of the screen, right? And all I could see was this pink kind of. So, are you a football fan? Do you watch any football?
You good? You feeling all right?
You got a favorite team? Yeah, no, I'm all right.
Let's go. I don't date guys that like sports.
You know, I stopped watching football. True story. The last football game I watched was when Peyton Manning was in the Super Bowl. And then I got offended and I never watched another sports event ever again.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jeff wasn't into sports, but I didn't know this till later. He literally will he did it today. He'll put his Apple AirPods in and listen to a Congress hearing for 4 hours instead. All he does is politics all day long. That's all he does. So it's kind of the same thing and it bums me out. But back to what we were, our regular scheduled programming. I would date all the time. I love going on dates. I think dates. Now, again, I live in the city of awkward. So I'm sure men don't like going on dates with me because I talk about everything. You know, I like to talk about my panty hamster and I would do that. So I know it's not fun for them, but I would have such a good time and I would date all the time. And I don't care that I have a YouTube channel. They could film the whole damn thing. I just think it's so much fun to go out. Now, I don't want to get butchered. I don't want to get like chopped.
If you're going to go that route, there's another platform. I think it's called OnlyFans or Fans Only, right? If you're cool with filming everything, right? That's your platform right there.
I would love to start one of those if I could make money on it. If I could make money on it, I would do it.
I'm starting one in March.
Why March? Why are we waiting for the first quarter of the year?
You got to prepare for something like this, right? There's all kinds of things that you have to take into account, and right, it can't be the same set, right? That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. So there's got to be it's a completely different setup. Getting all my ducks in a row, and we've got my brother has a reality show coming out at the end of December, so there's all kinds of stuff that I got to get taken care of before the end of the year. And then the reality show or the ads begin to run on December 31st and the show comes out in January. So all of January is probably right off. Then I get everything put together in February. We start filming in March, or streaming, I guess is the right term.
Streaming your OnlyFans? What do you mean?
Why are you sitting there in silence?
Because
there you go.
No,
you've never seen OnlyFans? It's like a live streaming service.
Yeah, I know. So are you actually starting one of those? Because I want to start one. Yeah, you were having problems. You were cutting out.
You do?
I don't know if I do, but I told you
February. March.
I have really cute feet. I have super girly feet.
Forget it.
And I have the only skinny part of my body is ankles. I have really skinny. That's the only skinny part of my body. So I have really cute feminine feet. They're very I have a very high arch and all of my toes are right. Like not one of I don't have like one toe that hangs over the other toe. Like they're all proportionate like they're supposed to be. Sorry if anybody has that toe. Nothing against that toe, but I have the right toes too.
Nothing against that toe.
But I really think it would be fun to to have a channel doing so. I
Yeah.
think there's a rich businessman out there that would watch me naked eat cheese pizza and probably pay me.
I don't think you'd even have to get naked. Like if your feet are that perfect, that's a really big genre. No, I'm just going to show people that apparently they have there's like a large hand thing. I think I'm just going to do the hands. Like I'm going to come out and like grab things and crush things. And there's people that are like really into hands apparently. So it's going to be like the George Costanza hand model episode. No, you know what? I don't think I could.
Like there's women. I would never pay for this.
If I thought I could do it and it would actually like not torpedo the lifeboat, but it would torpedo the lifeboat, I would lose all credibility. It's right around the time I started getting naked. But I have no shame. It would be fun. But unfortunately, I think it really would probably just torpedo the boat. See, I was actually showing. Was I not showing you stab wounds before we went live?
I wasn't aware.
See, you don't even pay attention. I had my shirt off, or she didn't even notice. That's nice.
I noticed, but I wasn't looking for stab wounds.
Doesn't hurt my feelings. Aha, you were distracted.
I was hoping to start one of those channels and like finish a live on here and then be like, okay, everybody come over to my OnlyFans and be on that channel. I wasn't going to try to hide it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'll go over there with you. Let's do this.
I mean, if I could really,
you realize collaboration takes on a whole new meaning, right?
What would we call it? Do you get to call your channel something?
Yeah. They come up with very creative names. I think I'm going to go with the Velvet Hammer, right?
I think I want mine to be come answer my bone phone.
Not bad. Not bad. Strong.
Yeah.
Strong.
I like that.
Calls from the bone phone. Right? Calls from the bone phone.
Huh.
Christina says Tommy can grab Reese's feet. If I put one of her hands in my feet, it would disappear. It really would.
That's terrifying.
What size foot have you got? What size foot have you got?
8, 8.5.
7. 8, 8.5? Okay. I was guessing.
Oh no, I'm not. I don't have a size 7 foot. No.
Size 7 foot fits in my hand. An 8 would too, actually.
Your paddles.
Cooterville is the suggestion. Cooterville.
Oh,
probably taken. You might have to put a couple of. You might have to put a couple of numbers afterwards, because I'm sure that that one's taken. Probably multiple times. Yeah.
Oh my God! Yes, the
Shark
foot
Week
bone's
is definitely
connected
here.
to the bone phone.
Foot bone's connected to the
bone phone. That's
women
really
can be
clever.
Serial killers too. A fascinating serial killer.
Yeah, not
Eileen
that many.
Warnos.
Not
Eileen
enough
Warnos,
to even
one of the most
comment on.
fascinating cases ever.
That's
Eileen
great, but
Warnos
not enough
great.
to comment on. It's always men.
Wow. You said that
Everybody
with such
wants
disdain.
to know. Well, I'm really into serial killers. That's true. We also call my cooter the hummingbird's nest, so we could soften things.
You said we as if I was involved. You said we as if I was involved. If somebody just showed up, they'd think I was making reference to your hoo-ha.
No, I'm speaking about everybody, the 752 people in here.
Oh, okay. All right.
What is this video supposed to be about again, Amy? Have you been on our channels? On my channel, we go all over. It doesn't really matter. So it's always about everything.
I was told there would be no subject.
What does this person keep saying this? Tommy, can you teach Reese about what Rule 34 is? What is that?
No, I cannot.
Okay. Does that need to happen over on our Cooter channel?
Yes, it does. And I will we'll what do they call that? Skype when this is over. Skype. It's kind of it's a visual lesson.
Thing? Okay.
Why is Skype not a thing? Why do you have to pick on me? I went away for a very long period of time.
Seems incredibly
when I went away,
antiquated.
it was called Skype. I don't know what it's called anymore. I went on vacation and they took everything and changed it while I was gone. I'm sorry. I'm working on it.
I'm really liking our ideas. Last week we talked we were going to start a cat channel, but this time
I think we can work all of that into it, can't we?
Now it's going to be a real kitty channel. I think it would be a little weird to have both. I feel like that's going to church and hitting the crack pipe. Can't really do both.
Why? I don't do anything without a cat nearby.
Okay.
I just don't. I just don't.
Right.
No. There's a name. Didn't see that one coming. You went from kitty to kitty. Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah,
And
I'm kind of liking this.
I'm just gonna let that one
I saw that. I saw that. Huh. Okay. Well, I think
Reese
we've
can pet the cats with her feet. Did you see that? See, somebody understands the game.
That's an interesting one. I wonder if there's a rich businessman out there.
Would you like to bet the farm that if you Google women petting cats with their feet, there's like 8 billion websites for it?
What is wrong with people? Who would pay for that? And why would you be turned on by that? That creeps me out.
Have you not heard my theory on this? If you get turned on by being slapped in the face with a dead fish while dressed like Elton John and standing in a bucket of Vaseline, there's somebody out there that's like, don't trip. I got a channel for that.
I'm good. Thank you so much.
How long have I been out? What are you saying? I got out a little over 3 years ago.
Oh, really? I thought it had been longer than that.
Well, because when you get out, you don't really get out. You get out and you go into a sort of step down prison, right? They call it halfway house, but it's not like the halfway houses you think about. You're locked down. They have guards. But so technically it's been a little longer than that, but I count my freedom at 3 years. And then I have been completely free to where the feds have no hold on me and I am a citizen again for about 6 months.
Okay. So are you on parole?
No, I'm on nothing for the first time in my life.
Wow. That's a big deal.
For the first time since 16, there is nobody babysitting me in any way, shape, or form. I am a citizen who can travel at will. Some hater out there made a video about how the feds were going to put me back in prison because I traveled to another state and to go beat on him or whatever. You don't have to do too much math to come up with what genius that was. Just let it be known if I went there to beat on that dude, he'd have been beat on. But
why wouldn't you be able to vote?
Because I can now, but I just recently had my voting rights reinstated.
Huh. I didn't even
How
know
long have I had a YouTube channel? The Lifeboat has been up since since July 31st, 2021.
Okay.
That is when we launched.
Nice. Yep. Okay. Guys, this was a good
Oh, and I have a driver's license. Do you know that? I have a driver's license. I own my own home. I'm a citizen. And you'd love it. I bought a really nice house. You would love it. It's got a pool. It sits on like an acre of land. Vermont allows felons to vote. Thank goodness. And I have a Vermont tattoo on my ankle. What's that?
That's really lovely. You have a pool? That sounds like fun.
I have a beautiful pool. I do. I bought my dream house, man. This place is great.
That's really
You'll have
nice.
to come and visit. You'll have to come and visit. But you won't.
I don't travel a lot. I don't travel a lot, but I was thinking sometime in the spring going to Clearwater to meet some of the people there. And some people were
Tell me when I'll go.
Would you?
In a heartbeat.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay.
Yeah, in a heartbeat. Would be
so much
and you can call me on the regular phone. I'll still come.
I appreciate
See what I did there? See what I did there?
I'm not as dumb as I look. Not as dumb as
Blake
I look.
Reed, look at Balake. Balake says, what do you mean there haven't been many serial killers? Eileen Warnos. Yeah, see that? He's a pro.
Yeah, there's not that many though, Blake. And speaking of serial killers,
Juana Barrazo, Rosemary West, Dorothy Puente are all horrific. But he means horrific because he capitalized it. Serial killers. Balake, you rock. Sorry?
May I?
I hope so.
Tommy, did you know, this is a fact, did you know that, what did she say? My hairstylist and I were talking and she sees a forensic psychologist lady. I don't know. Did you know that in a lifetime you come across and meet, what was the number? 10 to 12.
Will you set that down for me, please? Just set that. Thank you. What were you saying now? Because I didn't hear a word that you said.
Okay. In an average lifetime, in your lifespan, you meet 10 to 12 serial killers.
Really?
Yeah.
I know I have. Right?
And let me tell you something else. I need to tell you
I can
something
name
else.
7 of them off the top of my head.
Okay, but I need to tell you something else.
Yeah.
May I? May I?
Yes.
I spent all night one time at a veterinary hospital in March because my dog got attacked on a walk. And I was in the hospital waiting. I was there for 8 hours and I was sitting in the waiting room with one other guy. His cat got attacked by a coyote. And he was so cool. And his last name was Reese. And I liked him even more. And he was a retired Kansas City homicide detective. And that was so much fun to sit there with him for 8 hours. I was just asking him all these questions. And then by the end of it, I was like, was he really a detective? He gave me his address and phone number and he lived out in the middle of nowhere. And he was like, you need to come get some eggs from my chickens. And I was like, now I'm wondering. Anyway, back to what he told me. He said, then I'll never forget this. And I've talked about it before. He said, the nicest people I've ever met in my life were serial killers.
With some exceptions, they are sickeningly sweet, but they have to be. What you have to understand about them more often than not is what they're showing you is things that they read off of people's faces and memorized. They're not capable of the emotions that you're looking at, right? Peterson is a perfect example of that. Drew Peterson can show you humor. He can show you fear. He can show you, but he doesn't feel any of those. He doesn't. And the longer you hang out with somebody like that, the more you realize that their renditions of emotions change as new people come into the scene because they're mimicking people. They're sick. They're not built like other people. They may seem sickeningly sweet, and it's because they're mirroring you. Literally. Like you talk to Drew Peterson, and within about a week of knowing him, he's picking up your expressions, right? He started talking very similar to how I did, and it does coax you into a feeling that, the guy's kind of charming. Bundy was the same way. Everybody said Bundy was charming as hell. They're not capable of real charm. What they're capable of is they're parrots. They're great mimics, but they tend not to have that kind of capacity for the kind of emotion that all of us take for granted.
And my therapist said that made total sense to him. He said, because if you think about it, when you are nice, people trust you. So they have to be nice. I mean, if you're going to choose that career path, if you're going to be a John Wayne Gacy, you probably do have to be nice. But I just wondered your thoughts on that.
Yeah, they are usually very, very charismatic. They're usually very high IQ, right? And very often they are high IQ on not the math side, but on the communicative skill side. And they usually have very, very good vocabularies, but they mimic people. You're not seeing emotion. You're watching, and you'll see the mask slip. If you've ever watched any of the Bundy interviews, there's a couple of times where that mask slips and you see who that guy really is. And the same with Drew Peterson. When he gets pissed and that mask slips a little bit and you see the real Drew, he's a frightening individual. They're not charming. They're just polished. I find them frightening. I really do. I find them frightening.
Would they, obviously there's serial killers in prison, but you would not have been anywhere near those guys, right? Like I would think those guys
I was in prison with serial killers. I was in with a grip of them. Serial killers tend to cross state lines. What
constitutes a serial killer? A guy that kills his wife and daughter is not a serial killer.
No, he is not. And he wouldn't go to federal prison. That's a state offense. To go to federal prison, you would have to kill people and cross state lines. And very often that's what serial killers do. They'll get a kill zone, kill 4 or 5 people, go to the next state, get a kill zone, kill 4 or 5 people. So the vast majority of serial killers do end up in the federal systems, right? Bundy would have gone to the feds, but the feds deferred the case because of the fact that he was dead to, they had him on death row in Florida. And it didn't, if the feds had picked him up, it would have kept him alive, and they didn't want to do that. But very often, if they're crossing state lines, they're going to get picked up by the feds. So no, I did time with a lot of them. If you ever saw the movie with Brad Pitt where he plays a serial killer Early, the character's name is Early. He's in with the Scientologist. What's her name?
Oh, Juliette Lewis.
Yeah. Juliette Lewis. Yeah, she's
Natural Born Killers.
it's called America with a K, I think, or
Oh, I haven't seen
something
it.
like
Okay.
that.
I
I
haven't
think it's
seen
something
Natural
like
Born
that.
Killers.
California with a K. There you go. Thank you, Maggot. It's California with a K is what it's called. But it's based on a guy whose middle name is Early. And he's got his name is actually considerably longer, but he worked with Q and I. He's still there with Q. But the guy that Brad Pitt played in that movie, I did time with that serial killer. And he did 9 women, I think he killed.
And you would be in the same area as a serial killer that's killed 9 women when you were a bank robber? I assume they put these guys in a different area.
I was a serial bank robber, right? So
there's a big difference. If I had to share a room with one of you guys, I'm going to pick Tommy Scoville every time. Every time.
See that? See that? Huh?
Winner.
Is it the
Tommy
Alice in
wins.
Wonderland stuff? Look at that. Tell me that isn't cute. Look at the bunny. Huh?
It's adorable. And I would make you a sandwich.
Watch. A sandwich. Do you know I have a cat too?
Sandwich. Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, I know most things about you.
It's the Cheshire Cat.
We've worked together a lot.
Yeah, I did time around a bunch of serial killers. You know, there were a good number of them in there. Yeah. If a serial killer only kills people in one state, then he will go to the state prison. If a serial killer kills across state lines, he will go to. There was a famous case of a guy that killed his. Started with his wife, but then killed a bunch of people at the same hospital as his wife, and literally wore his wife's head like a hat and drove it through about 6 states. And I did time with him at an FCI. His custody level over the course of about 20 years dropped him to where he was at an FCI and was a devout Catholic, apparently, according to him. And he taught the yoga class until I got there. And I signed up for the yoga class. And about 3 days in, he got all butthurt and told me I should teach it and stomped off.
I have another question now that we're talking about serial killers. So you would be in the same area as a serial killer. Would you be in the same area as a person who R's people?
No.
So are they in a different area?
We don't allow them in the prisons that we're in. If they get there, we remove them. It's policy.
Oh, you guys do it.
Correct. The inmates do not allow those people on a level 3 or 4 yard. So they get beat up until they end up at what's called a special needs yard, which everybody there has been kicked off of every other yard. And then they get beat up there too. You know, it's not a nice life for those people. Hello, Jilbo Baggins.
I love Jilbo Baggins.
So do I. And she said they estimate between 20 to 50 serial killers.
It's interesting.
At any given time.
Why wouldn't they, if you take care of the people who are people, why wouldn't you take care of the serial killers?
It's you mean take care of them on the street or inside? Okay, murder is considered an honorable crime. This may not make any sense, but murder is considered an honorable crime. I don't consider it an honorable crime, but inmates do. And even the killing of a woman is not considered dishonorable unless you assaulted her sexually in the process of that happening. Now you're a scumbag and you got to go. I realize it's a weird distinction, right? But it is. And you can kill a woman and that can be considered an honorable crime. But if you beat her, it's not an honorable crime. Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? But are the serial killers cannot be reformed. They cannot. Honor among thieves is kind of BS, but it's not, right? So
Brianna Miller said, is that how it's going to be for Danny Masterson? Is that how it will be for him?
Danny Masterson is going into a hell that very few people on planet Earth will ever be able to wrap their brain around. He's going to walk in the door. Every single head in the room is going to turn. They're going to look at him like, what can I get from this guy before I hurt him?
Will he get special? Will he, because he's a celebrity, will he be put in a...
Nope.
I don't believe you there. And here's why. If that's true, why is Jared Subway Creep still alive?
You got any idea how many times he's had the crap kicked out of him? I've met one person personally who kicked his ass. That guy has been beat, stabbed, Like he has had a miserable time, and they keep moving him, and he keeps getting his butt kicked. You don't hear about all of them. You heard about the first one because it was epic, right? And the name of the guy that beat him up and everybody else, that slid out to the street and it got to TMZ. I met the guy that did that butt kicking, but he continues to get his ass kicked. So, or Larry Nassar just got stabbed, right? Or the guy that had his knee on the neck.
He's still alive. That Subway dude needs to go.
They're not trying to kill him. They're trying to torture him, right?
Well, he
honestly,
gets out next year. You know that he gets out.
Yeah, but there's very little desire. Honestly, they're not trying to kill them. You kill someone, you're now going to take your sentence out, right, for the rest of your life. They're not trying to kill them. They're just trying to make their time in there hell, right? And they're green lighted, which means a black guy can punch him in the face without permission. A black guy can rape him without permission, right? Anything bad can happen to him. If you were to assault anybody in prison, they're going to kill you unless it's somebody like him. And then anything goes. You can do anything you want to him. He's going into a hell you can't imagine. I promise you. And he's doing it in California. Jared's in the federal system. Where Danny's going is 10 times harder than where Jared is. And Jared continues to get beat up everywhere he goes. He's not doing easy time, I promise.
I'm happy to hear that because I thought since he was a celebrity, he was getting some kind of special treatment. Also, I just can't get over the fact that he's going to get out.
The first yard that he went to. But you know what? He's going right back. Don't trip. He's going right back. He won't. I don't think he'll get out of the halfway house. He is a serial offender. He's already been busted inside writing to people that he had victimized on the street. So he's going to violate. He's going to come back. And when he does, he's going to get life. I promise you. And here's the thing with him. The first yard he went to was in Florence, Colorado. He went to Florence FCI and he got beat up within a couple of weeks of being there. They transferred him from there. He got beat up in Oklahoma City going through the transfer center, right? This guy's going to do life on the installment plan because he's the real deal. He's a dirtbag. Okay. What would you say that the principle of it being an honorable crime because there is little to no suffering involved? No, it's because this is how the convict thinks about it. Okay. The convict sits down and says, have you ever been so pissed off? You said, I could kill that person. Okay. The difference between us and the guy that snaps and does it isn't much. That's how the convict thinks. They think to themselves, I can understand getting so mad I could kill somebody. I can't understand how you could be aroused by a child, right? Or decide to harm a child. So that's how it works. In their head, they can go, I can understand getting mad enough to kill somebody, right? Especially when you're in a place where you can get mad enough to stop punching the hell out of somebody. Now, listen, when you say stuff like, look, I'll tell you right now, if a guy does time in Ohio or a guy does time in wherever, right? Nebraska, I can't speak to any of that. I don't know anything about the systems. If a guy's not white, I don't know anything. I do know. I know that those groups police their stuff differently. But I know a hell of a lot about the California prison system where Danny Masterson's going. And I assure you those boys are not real big on people who SA women, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
And he did it violently, right? I trust me, they know the details of that. Yes.
Huxley, don't forget to do the litter box. And I have a request. I need you to do it so bad for me. One, I need you to go to bed soon. Did you take your antibiotic? No, because I have 12 hours. Okay, that's fine. Take it before you go to bed. 2, I need an Advil so bad. Would you please bring me an Advil when you go upstairs? Yeah. Please don't forget. Last time I was on my period, you forgot. Last time I had my period, I was on a live and I needed an Advil and you were like, yeah, I'll go get it. And you never came back. Can you please bring me one? My cramps are really bad.
I'm sorry.
You all right? You good?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah.
It's real, and he needs to know that. He's 14. You know what? We keep it real on YouTube. We keep it real in the house.
That's the spirit.
And honestly, that's the way it goes. He's going to be a man one day, and these things happen. And Shark Week is a terrible thing for some of us women. Some women are very lucky, and they don't have that problem. I have that problem, and my fallopian tubes are trying to kill me.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, and it's no joke. And I hope that if you do date someone, or if you've dated people in the past, that you are very understanding of that, because it's a god dang nightmare.
I have always
Oh,
you know
bless
what?
you, my child. Hurry, hurry. Thank you so much, son. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow. Don't forget to do the litter box.
And
Go
don't
on.
forget to do the litter box. I don't remember what I was going to say, or what I was going to say was probably so inappropriate that I'm glad I pumped the brakes. There's always that one too.
He can't often hear me talk. I'm in the basement. My office is in the basement, a Rolling
Oh,
Stone.
very cool.
And Huxley works out every night. And so he's down here working out. But when I'm typically on a live, he's not here, or he's upstairs. So no, it's very private down here. And he knows his mom anyway. So things that I say, sure, they're not necessarily appropriate for a 14-year-old. And I'm well aware of that. So I don't often do that. But I am having horrendous cramps, Tommy.
Yeah, it happens. It really does. If it makes you feel better, I get cramps at least several times a month that are worse than anything you can imagine. They're just awful. Usually has something to do with eating really spicy things. That's part of the whole Scoville, right? We're kind of famous for the whole eating of very, very hot things, and it causes cramping that is the worst pain in the whole world. Like it rivals any pain I've ever had. And I literally got treated like a piñata once by 4 cops, handcuffed above my head and just like beat like a piñata. And I promise you that capsaicin cramps are worse.
Okay, well, let me
And I do
just
that
say
quite
real
often.
quick, let me comment on that. I actually don't feel sorry for anything you just said, because you are
Mhm.
choosing to do that. My uterus just
Have you met
chooses
my
to try to
brother?
kill me.
Have you met my brother? I choose
Yeah,
nothing.
he said hi. He said hi once to me on the live.
Yeah, Johnny, I don't choose these things. I don't choose them. Johnny's been doing this to me since I was a little boy. He's just mean to me. And
I
I'm
get it.
53 and he's still treating me bad. That's just how it goes. You know?
I understand, but it's a little
Never
different.
tell a woman that your cramps are worse. Party foul. Listen, the only reason I feel comfortable saying this is because the UK chili queen, who is literally the greatest chili head that eater of hot things on earth. She's better than any guy. She's the queen of eating hot things. They call her the UK chili queen. And she said, worse than childbirth, capsaicin cramps. She ate like I think 10 tubes of terror. This challenge that my brother it's his face on. It's our product kind of thing. But she ate 10 of them, and she said it was far worse than any of her 3 childbirths. The cramps,
Okay,
they're
well,
awful.
again,
Self-inflicted. No, you have to watch how it happens, Bonnie. It's not self-inflicted. It's
but it
inflicted by my
is.
evil older brother. Sorry, go ahead.
Again, we don't really feel sorry for you in a lot of ways. But speaking of eating those things, I don't have a gallbladder, so I will crap my pants at any
Hey,
given time.
Katie, listen. No, I insist on this. Katie did it. Before you say that, I want you to eat a tube of terror, right? Because everyone will say, no, there's no way. Okay, eat a tube of terror, right? I've had 32 arthroscopic surgeries, 32, right? Had 2 strokes, right? I suffer from migraines from cerebral infarction. I've never told the doctor that my pain level was at a 10. It's never happened to me, right? Been stabbed, been whatever, right? Life lighted from being stabbed. The worst pain I have ever felt in my life times 6 was capsaicin cramps. It is the worst experience of my life, and I never choose it. If you ever watch the show, I'm tricked into it every single time. It's absolutely awful. But before you say she's full of it, I will mail you a tube of terror. Go ahead and eat one of these and let me know what you think. First of all, if 10,000 people try it, about 100 get through it. Nobody actually finishes one of these. No, you're talking about a pain that you can't imagine. I promise. If there's a chili head, no way. All of you people that say that stuff, I want you to give this stuff a try. I've never said a 10, but that's the closest I've ever gotten. And as far as kidney stones go, been there, done that. Right? Been there, done that. Got nothing on this. Got nothing on it. Just saying. You can
Do you
argue,
even
but
feel
give it a
bad
try.
for my uterus right now? I feel like you're just all about yourself and your self-inflicted cramps. What about mine? These aren't self-inflicted.
I feel for you. I really do. Did he give you Advil, you said?
Yeah.
Do you find that
What about?
non-steroidal, do they work well for you?
No, not at all. It's not
No, I
helping
don't
at all.
either.
But I'm just saying that's why it's not helping, because it's that bad. My poor
So
uterus
it's
and
more
ham wallet.
symbolic.
Hmm?
You're what?
My
What did you
ham
call it?
wallet. My poor uterus and my ham wallet are really suffering on this 21st day of December. Uh,
Apparently.
it's unfortunate.
Apparently.
Yeah. So I just
The
I
Halloween cat pose.
wanted to, for any future ladies that you date, I want you to make sure that you have sympathy for
I'm
that.
not
And
dating. I'm not dating. We're pretty safe on that. But I have always had sympathy. I'm a very sympathetic person. Kind of
okay.
what I do, technically, I think, kind of for my vocation.
Okay.
See
I
that?
feel like
You
I
feel
feel like
like
I had another question, but I don't know what it was now, and it's really hard
I
telling.
give up.
But I do love our conversations. There's 800 people in here, and I just think that
I
they
can't
love it
believe
too.
800 people show up to hear us speak. Do you find that somewhat shocking?
I find it shocking every day. Last night I had 1,000 and I was talking about absolutely
Wow.
nothing. I tend to have high numbers of people, and I don't know. I think they have low standards, honestly, because I talk about nothing.
I
I
don't think
sometimes
it's the
say, "What are you
subject
guys doing
matter.
in here?"
I don't think it's the subject matter. I think that it's personality driven. You have a very fun and bubbly personality, and that's why people watch you. It is
As do
not
you.
it is not the subject matter. I assure you, it is the subject matter. It is your it's your bubbly personality, and I do
That's
think
so
that you're
kind.
very relatable.
Well, thank you. I feel the same about you. I think we make a
And
good little pair here.
and you're a hottie, which brings in all of the the other areas.
I don't see that, but I appreciate that you
Not your
obviously
job.
see what I
Isn't
don't
that
see.
the best part? I mean, it's the best part. It really would be excellent if you noticed it. Like you don't have to obsess with it, but it's not your job to notice it. It's the job of other people to notice it.
I suppose.
Um, Pooh, that's such a great question. That's a
Here, let's
great
pull it up.
question. So now that Danny Masterson's finally going to prison, how often do you think Danny Masterson will fear the feel of terror that he subjected Jane Doe's to every time he walks into a new prison, or almost daily? He is a fish in a fish tank full of predators. He's the feeder fish in a fish tank full of predators. When the cell door locks at night, he will have some kind of a brief respite from the fear of I might be attacked, but for the rest of the time that he's out there, it's going to be on his mind at all times.
Will
Guys
he
who
have a
do not attack
roommate?
him, he will have a cellmate if they can find someone willing to live with him. And if there is someone willing to live with him, he will be a offender of the same kind. Right? That's the only person that will ever agree to live with somebody who is a S offender. They will also be an S offender. Right? So he's going to be living with a
Ooh,
freak. And you know what? The freak he's living with might be a meaner freak. You feel me?
yikes.
Like you never know the kind of freak you're going to get. He could get a freak that likes boys and not girls. And I promise you this, the prison department has fun with things like this. They can lie and say they don't. I promise you they do. They have a lot of fun trying to put people together that aren't a good mix. I mean, we
This
watched it
is why
happen
I'm
so
afraid
often.
to date in the future. Because what if
I
you
don't.
like somebody and they are weird in that category? What if they're weird and you don't know it?
You know something, I think that a lot of times you kind of gotta trust your instinct, and I think that you don't rush into things in 2024, right? I think that you take things slow. You shouldn't be in any real hurry to put yourself in a position that's gonna, that could lead to putting you in danger, right? That's bad juju, and it's the last thing in the world you'd want. Somebody asked me on a show, would I be cool with my daughter dating a convict, and if he were out and free. But when the guys are in there, it's a terrible environment, and you have to live in such a way to survive. And very often that will force you into unhealthy crap, right? So as you're coming out of prison, guys don't walk out normal. They don't. They walk out, and if they apply themselves, they get an opportunity to maybe actually re-enter society. And if that happened, yeah, I'd be cool with that. I have no problem with that. But not many people do. I'd like the person to prove that he could make it before he would hang out with my daughter. If that makes sense.
That is a tough question.
It is.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough question.
Well, and I believe in redemption. I mean, I'd be a real hypocrite not to, right?
Yeah, I do too.
I don't.
It's just,
but
it's
I
a
don't
tough
want the
question.
person. Yeah, I don't want the person still involved. And my advice to anyone would be the same advice that I give to my daughter, and that's take it really, really slow. And in the beginning, you know what? Don't go to dates alone. Right? Go out in public. Go hang out in a coffee shop and talk to this person and get to know them and spend a lot of time getting to know them. There's no reason to force anything in this day and age, because it is a dangerous world, right? It really is. And don't be afraid to Google people and do a little research, right?
Yeah, but you make a good point, Tommy. It is kind of scary. And see, I was just telling this to my tattoo artist, and he was like, "You're right. You're absolutely right. I have nowhere to talk about this." Men don't think. I mean, I speak for Jeff. Jeff's 300 pounds, 6'2". He's a big guy. When we go, like, I, as a woman, am fearful at a lot of places I go if I'm alone, or like when we go, for instance, recently, we went to a road trip 3 hours from here. It was not a big deal. But even stopping at, I've said this many times, at a truck stop, and I have to go in and pee, I get terrified. I make a scene. Like I was like, I gotta go pee. And he was pumping gas, and I was like, come with me. And he was like, you're fine. You're all right. Nothing's gonna happen. And I was like, no, oh, big guy, you're gonna stand by the door. And when we came in, I was like, all these men in these overalls with no shirts underneath, this is what I'm worried about. I'm going to get captured and rolled into a bale of hay and shipped off. Now, I realize I'm overweight, but there's, some goods to me that I feel like would be sellable. I don't know. So I get worried about that. And I think that women worry. And so my tattoo artist was like, you're absolutely right. I don't know. I have a leg to stand on. I'm a man. He goes, I never think about being ard or assaulted like that. And he goes, you guys have to think about it all the time. Where was I going?
Do you know it's just as bad? In my opinion, maybe not just as bad. I don't know, but I have no perspective at all on that. And I imagine that it's terrifying. But what sucks? The last time I went on a road trip, I was going to LA, and I pulled over at a rest stop, and it wasn't even a truck stop. It was a rest stop. But I was coming out of the bathroom after using it, and there was like a little hallway type of thing in it. So I'm coming out of the hallway, and there's a woman coming into it. And the look that she gave me was the look you're describing. You know what I mean? Like, she was afraid that I was there. She was hoping there was no guy that was going to be there. And she looked at me like I was going to grab her, throw her on the ground, and stomp on her. And I was just like, hey, how you doing? Like, turned sideways and ran by her because the look of fear was
she saw awful. Your big paddles. She saw your paddles.
Well, no, the big paddles up. Right. That was the surrender. The fear was just that there was a big bald guy there, and it was, and I just felt for her. I don't like that look. Right. There are sick people, I guess, that get off on that. Danny Masterson obviously enjoyed that look. I don't like that look. It's a terrible feeling. Yeah. There's one more reason I stay inside. You know what I'm saying? I get that look a lot. I really do. And I get that look a lot even after I introduce myself and people find out who I am. It's one of the reasons I hang out with you people. Second gens don't ever look at me like that. They really don't.
I never judged you. I never thought of that, but you're a big guy though, Tommy. Like, I do understand why that woman reacted the way she did. When I'm in a place,
just hurts.
I know, but I don't know. When I'm in a place where I feel a little bit uneasy as it is, I get nervous thinking, what if I get grabbed? What would I do? Where were we going with this? Only the Lord knows.
Here's the first thing that you do, right? The first thing you do is eyes. You understand this, right? You don't fight fair. You don't do anything like. The first thing you do is you try to get in the eye area and rake across it. Normally, women have slightly longer fingernails than guys, right? Eyes begin to tear. If your eyes tear, you cannot fight. A good shot in the nose, it doesn't have to be like a boxer, but if you hit somebody in the nose, the eyes tear. And when the eyes tear, it's very difficult to fight. I promise.
What if your hands are being held down? Do you just bite like Hannibal Lecter?
Normally,
you just Hannibal Lecter it?
Absolutely. You do anything you can, bite, and God forbid, I hate to say this, but I'm going to do this because I dated a girl named Beth, and she was one of the, I loved Beth. I probably should have spent the rest of my life with her. I really should have, but I dated her a billion years ago, and she was, married and happy, and but anyway.
You sure? You want us to try to find her?
She was, I would probably be better off to let her be a happy person. But we got along great. We dated in college, and we went to Oktoberfest. And I went out with friends, and she said, I'm going to do a girls' night. And I said, all right. And the two of us went out in opposite directions, and she got assaulted coming home. Yeah, coming home to meet me, she got assaulted by two guys on the campus on the way home. And you know what she did? She defecated. And she did it intentionally, and it stopped what was happening. And I went and picked her up at the hospital, and she was in such, and I remember hugging her and going, you are the most intelligent person I've ever met on planet Earth. Like, you're the smartest person I've ever met on planet Earth. And like, it's not something that it just seemed so logical to me after I heard what she did. And she's like, you know what? I feel disgusting. I said, you should feel like a genius. And then I did the psycho thing and tried to hunt people and spent like 2 weeks not going back to class because I was at a different college and I wanted to find the people. But she avoided a really horrific situation because they didn't want anything to do with her after that.
I don't understand why that would stop someone who's already going to
because
be
a guy that intends to, think about what this guy intends to do, right? Feces usually takes the fun out of things along those lines. Right?
Yeah, for a normal person, but someone who's already
what they did instead was when I picked her up, she looked like a raccoon. What he did instead was punch her twice in the face, which isn't, but I remember her saying, like, I just, this girl was living with me at the time, and I just was weepy. Like, it was such a bummer because if I had been with her, right, it wouldn't have happened. It just wouldn't have. But when we got back to the dorm, and I would look at her and I'd go, just the black eyes kills me, man. Every time I look at you, I just feel so bad. And she's like, every time I look in the mirror, I think they didn't get nothing. I'll take these two black eyes. She was just like I said, I probably should have married her. She was a pretty incredible person. But
that's also incredibly impressive because I don't have a gallbladder and often crap my pants, but I don't think I could do that on command. She must have been in tune with her body.
I just don't know how you could do it on demand. Because like when I fight, my body does all kinds of things I got no control over, right? And one of them is like, I'm going to clench. My teeth are going to clench. My every part of my body is going to go like this, right? Like everything is just going to tight. I don't think I could do that. I don't know that I could pull it off. But she was a pretty incredible person. She also punched me once.
Oh wow!
She chin checked me once. It was I've only been hit by women, I think 3 times, but she hit me hard. And it was only because of something I said. I didn't, but I said something stupid and took a shot. She punched like a dude. I really, and she was absolutely gorgeous. She was just a beautiful person. I met her when I was 6 years old, right? I was on a swim team.
It's a little weird that she punched you though. Like, I've never hit a man in my life. That's a little weird that she punched you.
She hit me with her palms down and she followed through. Well, I used the word that no one should ever use. Right? I haven't used that word since 1988.
What does it start with?
I'd rather not say.
I can't think of any words that are words
early on in the alphabet. It's really early on in the alphabet.
If it's the word I'm thinking of, that's still not a word that I would punch a man over, but okay.
Well, you know what's funny? I'd punch a guy over it.
Huh?
I said I'd punch a guy for saying it.
It's just a word to me. Yeah. It really doesn't bother me.
Well,
but okay.
I find it rather offensive. Yeah,
I think being in the Scientology is really desensitizes you.
Here's the thing. A word. Here's the thing. If you take an entire sentient being that is, capable of 80,000 unique thoughts a day and bring that person down to a body part or a part of a body part or that's kind of friggin' foul, right? If you just refer to the person by their reproductive parts, that's pretty nasty no matter what you call them. So I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. And I know people say it's just words. Words mean things. And, I was in a place where if somebody called you a punk and you didn't punch them, they were going to kill you, right? So we learned that certain words have effect. And if
punk,
I know that
I call Aaron a punk all the time, and Huxley.
You said it yesterday. You said go tell him he's a punk or something along those lines, right? And I was watching it and I had to pump the brakes in my head because to me that word means something really different than it means to you, right? Like clearly really different. Yeah. Inside, if you call someone a punk, what it means is stand up, we're fighting. Right? That's what it means. What it means is
Not to
that you are
me.
fond. It means you're fond of having sex, but you want to be on the receiving end of it in prison. That's what a punk
Okay, a
is.
punk to me
And
means a silly little goofball.
right. That's what it means to everybody in society. And the B word, the female dog, if you say that word, you're going to be in a fist fight. Either of those two words are a guaranteed fist fight, right? Like everybody that's ever been to prison heard you yesterday, and no matter what they were doing in the room when you said punk, it was like every head turned. Everybody was like, "Holy hell, what did she just say?" Doesn't mean anything to anybody, right? But again, you talk about programming and you say, I don't think of things like that when we're talking about body imaging and whatever. Okay, I did time in prison, and I like to think I'm an intelligent guy, that I got a decent IQ. I'm not stupid, but I was out of prison 3 weeks, and a guy called me a bitch, and I banged his face off of a bumper of a car because I was and I did it before I made a decision. Because in prison, if somebody calls you a bitch, guess what? You're getting hit or he's getting hit. Who's getting off the first punch kind of thing. So when this
So
dude called me a bitch,
judgmental.
well, when this dude called me a bitch, I was like, I figured a punch was coming real soon because that's what I had been programmed for the last decade, right? So I grabbed this dude by the hair real quick and smacked his face onto the bumper of a car because I assumed he was going to hit me. And he looked at me like, what the hell are you doing, bro? I was like, why did you call me that? Like, you didn't want to fight? Why did you call me that?
It's
But
not
it's
that
a
bad of a
different thing.
word.
Not when you're not in that environment. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a word, right? But in that
I've been
environment,
guilty of that word all day today since I started Shark Week. I've been mean to everybody.
no, that's not what you're guilty of. Don't use that word. That word sucks. That's not a good word either.
It's just a
It's
word.
just
Who
not.
cares? Okay.
You know what? I
Seems
guess
silly.
maybe because there's nothing else I'm good at except words. I take them seriously. I don't know. Maybe it's me. But
Well,
it's
we
all I
obviously
got,
come from very different backgrounds.
to
You and
be
I.
sure. To be sure.
Very
And here's the
different.
thing for everybody watching, my background was incredibly normal, right? Until it wasn't. I was a very, very normal guy. I didn't get in trouble until I was in my 30s. I had a very legitimate like income, and I had a family, and we did vacations and normal things. And then when I jumped the rails and really got off in the deep end, that's when it went off the rails. And then I started robbing banks and doing the things that I did.
Speaking of this, Susie CJ, I don't know. I won't poop in public. Like, I have a hard time pooping in public. I have a very shy colon. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do it. Just
A
speaking to that.
shy colon.
I have an incredibly shy colon. I will not poop in public. I have a hard time doing that. And I need to get over that. Wow, that's a large bottle. I did think of what I was going to say. Tommy probably has to go. He doesn't usually stay on for this long, and he's already done a live before this. So I feel kind of bad keeping you. Can I say something that has nothing to do with you just because the crowd is here and we had a chat last night? I need to address it.
Sure.
So for all the ladies who are asking me, because I saw a couple, and by the way, I started some things, guys. We're going to go back to it. But for all the ladies from the chat last night, I want you to know Abby, the owner, she's been crying. She's been so emotional today. She said you gave her the best Christmas ever. She said in all of her retail years, she's so over the moon. I only work 1 day a week. And I woke up this morning and she texted me and she was like, Reese, I have so many orders. You're not going to believe this. And I was like, really? And I was not going to have anything to do with this, but I was like, I feel like I need to go in and handwrite every single note and help pack the orders because of that. So I want you guys to know I went in for hours today. Sorry, Tommy, and then I'll be done. And they took a picture of me and I was like, put that on their Instagram, and they did. I'll put this up close, but I was sitting there helping pack all the orders, and I was writing thank you notes to everybody.
It's a great picture of you. I actually took a very, very good picture of you. I would post that.
Thanks. Oh my.
Huh.
Okay.
That's a good question, Willie Weed. Wasn't the Sea Orm a dorm? Huh?
What?
Isn't that about as public as it gets? Weren't you in a dorm in the Sea Org?
Yes.
Okay, so that's really public.
What?
I said that's really public. You're out, like, that's public living. Dorm is you're out there with everybody right there. I can't do dorm. Like, I couldn't even do it in prison. When they put me in dorms, I freak out and cause problems until they put me in a cell. Another
So
great answer.
I hand wrote all of your
Just
guys'
shoot me
thank you cards.
copies.
Yeah, sure. I hand wrote all of your guys' thank you cards today. She had like over 60 orders. I was there for hours, and I want you guys to know I was so excited to do it. So when you get your, I mean, not everybody, I left obviously. So if people ordered after, but I was there all day today helping pack your orders and seeing what you guys bought. She's reordering everything, and I hand wrote everything to you guys. I was so excited to do that. So I just wanted everyone to know that. We'll talk more about that at another time, but
That's so cool.
yeah, I was really excited. I was so excited. Um, anything else? Oh yeah, we have super chats. Can we look at those? Do you have that kind of time? You know, you can leave if you want.
Sure.
I don't want to keep you here.
Sure. Yeah. No,
I
I do.
love
I
Joni.
never do anything. Everything I do because I want to. Since leaving the
Okay,
joint,
well,
everything I do because I choose to. I'll leave if I wanted to. I promise you.
that's absolutely adorable. How many shipped out? Jess, I think there was over 60 orders. It's amazing. So my boss now, by the way, wants to do a whole like Reese section on the website of like Reese's favorite things. And I already told her some things that I'm into. And she was like, I'll order it today. So she's already ordering all this stuff. And she wants to put me more on her Instagram. And she's going to do an Instagram live next Thursday at 9:30 and asked if I could come and show everything and talk to you guys. Um, they don't ship international yet, but they're talking about that now because I'm pushing it. So next Thursday, we're going to do an Instagram live and I'm going to show all the new stuff. And anyway, I just am shocked. I was like, I cannot believe how many people Tommy is checking out. So let's get back to what we were doing.
No, I'm not.
But
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I was
But
just
I'm
making sure.
so
I didn't
excited
screw
for you
anything up.
guys. I want to say thank you again. Everybody at my place was just freaking out today. They were just like, "Oh my god, yes." It was so much fun. Anyway, back to it. Anata on fire. I packed your order today and I wrote you a note. You're so cute.
Very cool.
Yeah. Okay. So Joni, we love Joni. Tommy, women feel safe with you.
Oh,
I
that's such
feel
a
that
cool
way.
thing to say.
It's
You
true.
know
I
what?
feel that way.
There's a really beautiful post that one of the Jane Does did on Instagram, and somebody sent me a link, and it was a picture of me at the protest, and she wrote some stuff that was along the same lines that she felt very safe with me there. And you know what, man? I literally it brought tears to my eyes.
I feel safe
That's
with
such
you.
a cool feeling. That's such a cool feeling. It really is.
If I was in person with you, I would feel safe with you. You make me feel safe.
You might not want to stick with that one. Maybe the rest of them.
My what?
Not so much. I said you not so much. The rest of them can feel safe. You, I might just attack. Look, Anna Banana.
In a good way, I hope. Not like
Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly.
Not in a Ted Bundy kind of way or Zodiac killer.
No, on a tug your hair gently kind of way.
Oh, how sweet.
Yes, I am a gentleman.
That's incredible. Jen Nelson. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Jen.
I love it when they say that. I really do. I love that.
Oh, me too. I'm addicted to it. My first time chatting. Love the community. You're growing here, Reese. You're a natural entertainer. Love your energy. Like that of a fun talk show host. Wow. You listen and have an ease that comforts people. Well, welcome. And that's like the nicest thing anybody could say. So thank you for saying
beautifully put. You nailed it.
Really nice. Zoe.
I said something like that earlier, didn't I?
Probably you did when we talked on the phone.
Yeah,
you and your picnic basket. You are so freaking cute and kind. I just love you so much. Use this money for your prison pen pal writing supplies. That, Zoe, is a great idea. And I wasn't kidding. I would love to bring in some sandwiches and a little baggie of chips and some cookies. I think that would be a lovely lunch. Thank you, Full of Hope, for your super sticker, my love. Marcy, you are admired every day. You just don't know it. Marcy, that is so nice.
You could do really well with a pack of cigarettes, too. Like if you just were to bring in, say, 20 Marlboro Reds. You know, they can't smoke in there. They're very fond of those.
Yeah, but I'm a caregiver. I'm very maternal. I'm a Cancer sign. I don't want to bring in cigarettes. I want to bring in some sandwiches and some Oreos. I love it. Choose to be beautiful.
Wilma Cranky Wolf. What are you saying? Do you see that? Did you see what Wilma Cranky Wolf has accused me of? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I believe Tommy is beyond flirting and at this time. Well, of course he is. I mean, he's a flirty guy. It's not me. This could be any woman in here and he'd be flirting.
Blatantly obvious. Good Lord.
He flirts with anything with a ham wallet. It's not me, guys. Amy Edge, Reese, you're a beautiful woman. Yes, I can. Easily.
Sorry.
You're a beautiful woman inside and out. We are all drawn to you because of your beautiful heart. Your father and that cult did this to you. Thank you, Amy. And you're probably right. Thank you. Nico, I was just going to tell you, Scientology is very judgy about people. Yeah, very much
Get right out of here.
Hmm?
I said, get right out of here. Scientology is judgy about people?
Yeah, no. Incredibly.
Hey, Sarah.
Ken Cole, love you. It sounds an internal thing, not external. For years, everyone would say positive things regarding how I looked. I could never hear it because my internal dialogue was stuck on another switch, not about size. I agree. And my therapist does say, Sarah, that I do seem very unsettled. And he said, you've got to try to find inner peace because you are constantly reaching for external solutions. Tommy, what are you doing?
Laughing. I'm reading comments. People make me laugh. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thought you were just messing around. Reese, most people do not find themselves attractive to their own standard of beauty. Yes, love Mama Bear. You couldn't be more right about that. But I don't speak for most people. Yeah, that's true. I feel like I look like a guy. Tiki Kettle. Sometimes we feel we are ugly or not good looking because we are not our type. That's what we just said. That's right. Thank you for your super chat.
Good timing.
Belinda. I love Belinda. Thank you for your super sticker, Angel. Amy, I wish I could share my dad with you. I wish you could too, but do you mean like for me to date him? Or do you mean, because I often date people's dads. So what did you mean? Like, because I didn't have a good dad? Or do you mean so I could go out on a date?
Love Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you for your super chat. Sheila, Reese, I'm 48, 5'4". Me too. I am not 108 pounds, but thank you for saying that. And I'm okay. Well, all right. It took one comment from one of my brothers when I was, holy shit. Okay, Sheila. Well, we need to address that at some point because.
Yeah, we do.
Do you like older women, Tommy?
Women. I like older women. I like younger women. I like women my age. The age thing has never been women who are younger tend to seem to gravitate more toward me because I am truthfully hellaciously immature. But I'm not particularly drawn to any age group.
That's interesting. That is interesting. People say don't judge a book by its cover. I grew up being judged by my cover. It's still a struggle for me to look beyond my cover. Lisa, you get me, girl. We get each other. I know that about us. Yeah. Jen says, I'm 48 and have been with my husband for going on, decades. If God forbid I wasn't here,
he wasn't there here.
Yeah. That's too long. I have a time limit. I think that's also why I like old men, because I don't want to be with anybody for 29 years. I mean, good for you though on that, Jen. I don't feel like I could pull that off. I would get killed. No man wants to put up with me. A lot of guys would not want to put up with this. I'm telling you, if Jeff and I are not together, I'll have a hard time dating. Nobody's going to want to date me. Keela says,
I don't know that. I
don't think so. I learned in therapy that having PTSD causes so many failed relationships. It keeps you from being able to be honest and open with the other person. I guess that explains me. Love you both, Reese and Tommy. We love you, Keela. And that could be true, Keela. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, it's Nat Cat. Hi, Reese and Tommy. Tommy, thank you for shining a light on girls and body. Yes. And sadly, the story of my life. Reese, try to look into attachment theory. You'll understand all your relationship patterns. I get attached. We do know this. And I get incredibly needy. And this is why I would probably be single the rest of my life, because I am very needy. Very. It's a true story. I am. And incredibly insecure, Tommy, incredibly. I say to Jeff at least a few times a week, I'm like, are you still attracted to me? Do you still think I'm cute? Like, are you still into this? Do you want to get a hold of it? Do you want to get in it? You want to look into it? You want to squeeze? I get weird about it. And he does too. He gets annoyed. He's like, yes. Ugh. He's like, don't ask me the same question twice. And I get so insecure. It's real too. I'm not even making a joke. I'm like, do you still like me? And he's like,
see, no one has ever had to ask me that. I'm
Well,
Glenn
that's really
Quagmire. There's a really good chance if I'm there, I'm probably just doing that anyway.
That's really nice, isn't it?
It's the truth.
Fire and
Yeah.
Herb Stars. I haven't heard this many references to cooters or any other names, even when I was a labor and delivery nurse. Wow. Love you.
See that? See the effect we have when we get together? Not particularly healthy.
Actually, I just
Fun,
do it
though.
on my own too.
You know, I was
That
feeling special until you said that, but thanks. It's all right.
well, you are. You want to know why you are special?
Sure.
I'll tell you. Because you're the only guy I've ever collaborated with that's willing to go there. You've seen Aaron. Aaron freaks out. He's like, "Oh, don't do it."
Oh,
He
he
won't
does.
even
Yeah, no,
read
he
it.
doesn't. No,
Sterling
no.
is the
See
same.
that?
Sterling
I didn't
told me
say it.
that.
Someone else did. Do you see that? Someone else said it. I didn't.
Sterling
Giggity.
told me on the phone today. He goes, "I always watch your stuff until you start talking about your pap smears or something, and then I tune out." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's too bad, but somebody's for everybody." Blake Reed, that's my sweet friend. Is exactly why I'm so into true crime. I have to learn everything, prepare for everything. Blake, I believe that about you because I know you very well, my friend.
Yeah, I
Jeepsy
think
Soul,
that's
my
pretty
last super
solid.
chat was canceled. Well, you got it this time, Jeepsy Soul, and I think you got
Well,
my
that
email
sucks.
back, right? Thank you for that. Jilbo, in the U.S. alone, the FBI estimates
Wait a sec. I need to
are
know what SJ is talking about. This is important.
What's
SJ.
wrong? It means they're not.
It's a
good.
dangling participle, right?
What
or something
means
like
that?
I don't know what means that.
Warning: you could push Jeff away with that repetitive. You think? Talk to your therapist about it. No, you can push any man away. Let me actually tell you, it's not just Jeff. Any man. That's why I just said, Crystal, I'll never have a boyfriend after Jeff because nobody likes that. But it's actually like it's a it's an odd. Is this a Scientology word? Because we say it in Scientology. It's an automaticity. I can't stop myself. I get so insecure that I'm like, do you like me? Should I leave? I will do that. Laugh it up.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at SJ. I'm not laughing at you at all. I was laughing at the answer to the question. People that get uncomfortable about that kind of talk are probably not particularly gifted when they get into that particular room of the house.
Oh, can you imagine? I tell Aaron that all the time. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
No, I think if you're not willing to talk about that, yeah, you're probably not willing to do a lot in the sack in general.
I think there's probably something to that.
I think there's a correlation there. That's true. Yeah, that's actually true because I love getting down. I love to get down. And I'm open about that. And I also think there's something to that because I like to explore. I like to try new things. I like to be open and honest when I'm boning. I'm like, put your hand there. I don't like that. Move one finger to the left. I'm all about that. But I think there are people who clam up and they get nervous around the clam. And that's not me.
Me either.
Good for you. Back to
I've
Jilbo
got 4
here.
games that are really a lot of fun to play. But if
Good for you.
Told the games, then we really get in trouble.
Well, I think you should go on dates.
We can't do that.
You know, use it or lose it. In the U.S.
One step
alone,
at a time.
You have a swimming pool. That's reason enough to bring somebody back.
Swimming pool. Yes.
Get in the pool. In the U.S. alone, Jilbo says, the FBI estimates there are between 25 to 50 active serial killers at any given time, despite the authorities not being aware of them. Really? Because I think it's hard to have a serial killer career these days with all the cameras, forensics. It's hard to take on that career, Jilbo. It's not like it used to be back in the Zodiac times.
This is not a good, it's not a good bet anymore. They are so good at what they do now. It's so different.
Clam life.
Cal, look at you.
I love that. Recent Tommy chats are my fave. Aww. Tommy is quickly becoming one of my favorite. I love that. You guys, by the way, while we're here.
Cool thing to say.
There's 817 of us here. Everybody go over to his channel. It's called The Lifeboat, and it's amazing. I love his channel. Kathy, I loved the 70s shows so much, but you and the rest of us. I never watched it, though.
You know what? That was painful to me. That was painful to me. I hate losing a show like that, but he's a scumbag. Question: since most serial killers essay their victims, would they be put into the fair game category? You betcha. If they are a serial killer that has a SA component to the crime, they're thrown in the same straight bag as everybody else. Yep.
Can you answer that for Anata?
How do you get the back off of a small citizen watch? Well, they come in two varieties. One is a pop. If it is a pop, you need to insert a razor blade on the top right-hand corner. You'll see a small little indentation, so a small nipple. You can barely notice it. You really got to look for it. And you put the razor directly underneath it. Not a very thin razor blade. It's kind of be like a carpet knife, and then just pry up. You'll hear a pop. That'll do it. If not, it's going to be one that requires a spin, and that requires a device that looks like that. And if you don't have one, you're not going to get the back off.
Tommy, I love watches. I love watches. And I love vintage turquoise. And I found this in a thrift store. And I went to put the battery in at a jewelry store. And they were like, what did you pay for this? And I said, $50, I think. And they said, we would sell this for at least $300. So that was cool. Look at this thing.
Oh, based on the bracelet alone. See, right now that is on fire. That is a very, very popular thing right now.
Look at all the
turquoise.
Yep, yeah, but I mean the intricate design on the silver too is cool.
By the way, those designers are the people that did that got very famous. So in particular, experts will take that particular band and look at it. And if the designer happens to be a famous name in the Native American community, because most of them come from that community, then it could be worth 4 times that, right? It could be worth a lot more than that. It just depends. And they usually can identify it because it's very easy to tell where turquoise comes from, apparently. I'm not an expert on this, but I have friends that are. And they can tell by where the turquoise comes from, chances are, who the artist was. And then you look for their specific signatures.
Well, and that's why... That's also why
they get the watch running for you?
Yeah, and it's signed.
Oh, nice.
It has a signature in the silver. So they said that's why too, because it's signed. Isn't that fun?
Nice. Yeah, it's worth more than $350 if it's signed. Don't sell it.
No, I don't want to sell it. It's cool. Yeah, I'm so happy to see you guys. I love Susie CJ. Look how cute she is. Love the subject. I'm obsessed with learning about serial killers. Who isn't? My dad is a doctor in a prison, and specifically the men's area. Tommy's on point. Ooh. Yeah. I mean, good for your dad, but that's serious. And thank you for your super chat, my love. Balua boy, that's cute. Sometimes you say things that make me think you were once in a cult, like making prison friends. Well, that does add up, doesn't it? Yeah, that adds up. So definitely. I would say that seems right. Randy, Tommy, why did 4 cops hang you up and what?
And beat me up. I punched a corrections officer in the face. So they put me in this little cage, and it's like a phone booth, but it's got bars everywhere. And it's just to hold one person. And they put my hands above it like this and handcuffed it. Right. So every time they'd walk by, they would just open the door and punch me like a heavy bag kind of thing. I mean, I did whatever. I mean, I was guilty of what I was not innocent in being punched around. I was guilty in being punched around, but it still made for a pretty uncomfortable day. And I was urinating blood for about a week. It was a pretty bad butt kicking.
You know, it's interesting. That actually makes me uncomfortable just hearing it. So that I'm sure it was uncomfortable for you. Sorry to hear that. But Shannon says you're very charming and we're fun together.
Oh, well, thank you.
I think that's
a nice
important.
thing to say.
We're almost through those super chats, but if you have to go, I understand.
Well, that's all right. We're almost through.
Blakey. Well, Tommy doesn't usually stay on this long, guys. I can pull through just fine.
No.
Okay.
No, and it was a good long day, but I'm happy.
Blakey is one of everybody's faves. Danny Boy's about to enter a whole new cult, the cult of pain, and yeah, he sure is.
Yeah,
Blake.
It's true.
That is really
Snotface. The cop told me that he intended to go where I lived and F my wife as often as possible. He liked to tell me that his junk was considerably larger than mine, and she was going to have far more fun with him than me. And he just continued to do this and do this and do this until finally I lost it and knocked him unconscious. That's kind of how it went down. I tried going the legal route. I filled out paperwork. I did all this stuff. Nobody would stop him. And they took him away from visiting so he couldn't see my wife. And then they put him back. And he stared at her through the entire visiting. And I said, if he says something stupid, you're going to hear the alarms because I was off the rails. Like he was insulting my wife, right? I couldn't take it. I said, if you hear the alarm go off, you're going to know why. And she did. She didn't get to the parking lot. She heard the alarm go off. I called her from the shoe and she went, shit. I heard the alarm and thought, that's my husband beating up a cop. But
those are words I've never spoken, but wow. Ken Cole, thank you. I saw your comment, by the way, Ken Cole. Thank you. That's really unfortunate, Tommy, and we're glad that you're all out of that now.
You know, the good news is he was smuggling dope into the cops. I mean, into the inmates. If he wasn't, I probably would have gotten about another 7 years for what I did to him. And then they just decided to drop all the charges against me right before it was time to go because he got caught bringing in 4 ounces of meth and a cell phone and then got sent to prison.
Oh,
The cop I hit
good.
had
That's
to go to
cool.
the feds. Yeah. He had to go to
That's a
federal
really
prison.
nice story.
Yeah, it was a nice ending.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, he was trying to get me to punch him. He absolutely was trying to get me to punch him. Sadly, I punched him a lot harder than he thought I was going to punch him. And he's got a scar that runs from here to here.
With those paddles?
Exactly.
Those paddles?
And the cop said that to me the first time I went to prison. Look at it when he balls
it up. Can we see that again?
Right.
Oh my God.
That's big. So I have a very, very big hand.
Terrifying.
Very, very big hand.
I've learned so much about myself watching you, Mighty Unicorn. I don't recognize your name, so thank you. You're new, and thank you for your super chat. I really hate the C word, Karen says. Karen, I'm so sorry. I just don't have anything on that word because I've been bull baited so many times since the age of 4. It doesn't bother me.
But you know something? That doesn't make it okay.
It really doesn't make it okay. I'm just saying for me, it does absolutely nothing. Tommy, that is brilliant. I'd crap myself to escape. I just can't crap on command. Again, I won't even poop in public. So
my hands look swollen. Yeah, I've heard that one often. I've heard every hand joke you can. I get the swollen one a lot.
I bet. I love Killy Billy, by the way. Love you too. Thanks for always entertaining us.
No shit. So nice. What he did is considered incredibly bad form and not done very often at all. Right? Usually they're incredibly respectful. And he started out, he said, your wife is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen come through visiting. And I said, thank you. I appreciate that. She really is lovely. And he said, didn't you say that she lives in Vegas? I said, no, she lived north. We live in northern Nevada. And he said, maybe I should stop by and her. And I just went, why would you say that, man? Like, I'm the most respectful person in the whole world. Why would you say that? And he's like, file papers on it. And I did. And then the warden had called me into the office and said, hey, man, if you don't retract this, it's going to go in his permanent file. And I don't want that to happen. I said, oh, I don't give a crap about his permanent file. Get him out of there before I hurt him. Right. And he did. And then they put him back. And when they put him back, vanilla. Who said that?
Half. Inappropriate half.
Yeah. Well played. Now I am blushing. How's that?
Amazing. Skipper, I probably packed it today and wrote you a note. I don't know your real name, but I wrote whoever ordered something today. So thank you. I love hearing that. Chrissy, enjoy listening to 2 amazing people who are working. Well, hi. Oh, you baby. 2 amazing people who are working together to figure out life in such an awesome, open way. I listen and craft. I love that, Chrissy. Thank you, babe. Robin Miners, just cuz, you two. How cute. Thank you, Robin. And you're still giggling. Love Mama Bear. Anytime you two are chatting together, it makes my night better. I always look forward to your lives. Tommy, that is so nice. Are you hearing this?
That's beautiful. It really is. Wow.
Amy,
look at my dad. Thank you, Linda.
My dad is happily married to my mom. Amy, I couldn't be more happy for both of them, honestly. You guys are great together. Tommy, thanks for answering my question on your live earlier. Lisa, we love you. Guys, thank you for all these super chats. Marilyn, I'll be on the replay. Had karaoke night with my kids and sang myself hoarse. I get it. But wanted to say hi. Love you, Marilyn. I hope your birthday was so special, by the way.
Yeah, happy birthday belated again.
Tommy, tell Reese about it, the ants.
Automatic negative thoughts. Automatic negative thoughts. They will tear you down all day long. We're going to have to work on that. I will. I promise.
Well, that's been going on.
I will start really working on it. I promise.
39 years, guys, have been doing it. It's not going to change. Ben, love, just so you know, we are all just scars covered with skin and hair. Easy to think. Yeah, we're the only ones that are insecure, but everyone is to an extent. Ben, that is such a good point. And thank you for your super chat. Pookie Woos, that's the cutest name I've ever heard. God, that's cute. I feel like I'm gonna have to steal that. Are you a Pookie Woos? Are you a smooch
No,
as
but how good is
pooches and
that? If
cream?
you're grown up enough to do it, then you're grown up enough to talk about it. I like that.
That's a good point, Pookie Woos. That's right.
Good.
This
Then the
chat
next
has been
time
an
we come on, I'll tell
education.
you some great games that you can play in the sack that are so much fun. How's that?
I'd
Yeah,
love that.
like
Let's
good
make that
games.
the highlight of our next chat.
I will
This
do
chat
that
has
in
been
the
an
next-
education. I hope that you're really serious about this, by the way. Reese, massage money. I'm having a 2-hour massage Saturday. I want to get a massage so bad, Lisa. That sounds amazing. And Lisa, damn you, girl. You're amazing. I love
CBT is
Lisa.
a slow, self-directed rewire of the brain. Yeah, that's right. Use it. Cognitive behavioral training, CBT. Well played.
Thank you, Lisa.
Good for you. Good for you.
Okay, well, I guess, should we sign off? I mean, we've been on a long time.
Yes, we have. And it's been a lot of fun, hasn't it? I
Yeah,
love
but
coming over here, Reese.
You do?
I do.
Well, I wish you would just freaking simul stream, but he won't do it. So it's
That's not how
silly.
we do
It's silly
That's not how we do it.
nonsense. Tommy,
Well, we
will you
wouldn't
stay
have had
on
we
for a
wouldn't
minute?
have had 750 to 800 people here, would we? It would have been a much
Why
smaller
wouldn't
feed
we?
because you would have split it in half. Half the audience went to my side. See, these people that are over here would have joined on my side, and that would have been a bummer. Carousel Delirium would have been on my side, right? We don't want to do that. We want to bring everybody here. Then the
So I
algorithm
do
looks at us and goes, when these two are together, there's something special that goes on.
So I do a
okay.
weekly thing with Sterling, and I have 800 on mine, and he has 400 on his, and 1,200 people are watching us, and there's nothing wrong with that. Automatic negative thoughts, I've heard, put it that way.
Either
Every
they
second
don't
of
push the channel out the same way. They don't. If you
Totally,
center it on
Blake.
one, it gets
You're
pushed
right,
further.
Blake.
But
Okay,
you're
you
right,
seem-
Blake. You know what? I love Blake. I really do. Blake's such a good dude.
Who doesn't love Blake? I love him so much. I
Well,
love
there must be
Snotface too.
Snot rescues animals. Snotface is
I
amazing.
know.
She really
Snotface
is.
has
Yep,
foxes. It's amazing.
she does. Well,
will
she
you-
has a
will
menagerie,
you-
but she also has foxes.
Will you this time, will you not jump off so I can say bye to you?
Sure.
Like you have this
absolutely
weird,
will.
you're the only person I've ever worked. Aaron was like, oh yeah, Tommy doesn't stick around. He just leaves. I've never seen anyone do that. You just leave.
I'm sorry. I do tend to do that, but I will stick around. I promise. I do that. You're right. I usually just go like this and slam it shut because I'm running to the next thing, but I don't have a next thing, so I'll hang out.
I just want to be able to say
promise.
goodbye. That's all. Is that
We
too
want
much?
to. I know I have something I need to talk to you about anyway. You need to work on this ant thing, so we're going to talk about that real quick.
Okay, guys, we're going to go. I'm not even going to do my outro so that Tommy and I will just jump off. But I love you guys. I'll be back on tomorrow. Tommy will be on tomorrow. He's on all the time. And thank you for having us in your giant paddles.
Live long and prosper. No, I wasn't doing the paddle. I was doing my live long and prosper. I meant my Mr. Spock.
Well, to me, they're paddles. Okay, guys, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to get my heating pad for my cramps and hope that it goes away. Thanks again. And we'll hope that Advil kicks
pulling
in.
really hard for that, making not light of your cramps at all.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that coming from you.
I'm that guy.
I'm going to just hit end stream now. So guys, we'll see you tomorrow. And we love you all.
Poor Gert looks so stressed out.
Yeah, she's really had a tough
Poor dog.
time. Really stressed.